What up, Thumper fam? Welcome. This is Hyper RPG, a hyperactive, interactive, community-driven Twitch channel that is all about you, the viewers, in which we do lots of things. Today is Wednesday, so it's comic book day, and our first show, of course, is graphic content. We're going to talk about comic book news. We're going to talk about comic books that came out today. We're going to do a quick recap of Vanquished from Monday night. And then we're probably going to get sidetracked and talk about geeky comic book things that have nothing to do with today, but yeah. That's part of the fun.
That's like part of the scheduled programming, sort of.
Yes. So, welcome. As we said, this is Hyper RPG. Before we get started, let's talk about what's going on the channel today besides us, even though we know why you're here. At least we know why you're here now, because there's nobody besides us right now. But later, there will be Watching Paint Dry, which with Viking Lass and Steph will be around to paint some mechs for DFA. The season finale of DFA is this Friday, or not DFA. DFA Renegades, the miniseries. Yeah. Tyler's gonna be the villain.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is very exciting.
He's so nice and sweet. I feel like he'd be a perfect villain. You know?
Yeah. No, I'm very
people
excited.
Like that just make wonderful villains.
Yeah. Like Rai Rai.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rai Rai's so sweet, and then you get up into be GM or role playing, and it's Yeah. The real Rai Rai comes out.
There you go.
Or does he? We'll never know. After Watching Paint Dry, will of course be Shadowrun Corporate Sins, which is always awesome. You know, Cyberpunk, Shadowrun.
Yeah.
It's reliable. It's great.
It's invented in Seattle.
It is invented in Seattle. And takes place in Seattle.
Yeah.
All kinds of good stuff. Today on Twitch Prime, or through Twitch Prime, or starting today, throughout the month, This War of Mine is free. So if you are on the fence about Twitch Prime, This War of Mine is fucking sweet.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's probably one of the most depressing / amazing games you'll ever play. It is so freaking good. It's life-changing. It's one of those games.
It's really good. So if you have Amazon Prime already, you can just link your Twitch account and you got Twitch Prime. If not, you can get Twitch Prime, and if you do, please remember to manually resub, because Twitch Prime does not resub for you. So if you're subscribed through us through Twitch Prime, go ahead and hit that resub button. On this channel, of course, every time we get 5 subscribers, we give away a Steam key.
Yep.
And if we get 50 followers throughout the day, we will also give away a Steam key. I think that's all the bookkeeping.
Is it?
I think so. Right?
50 followers a day. I just cracked 15,000 followers on Twitch.
Congratulations.
I just felt the need to say that.
Nice.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
For those of you who don't know, Bronze is a Twitch streamer on her own at twitch.tv/bronzegirlgaming.
That Bronze Girl.
At that Bronze Girl.
Thank
I can't keep track of them all. You're welcome.
So many different tags.
We try to support each other here.
I know.
And it's also great because you're late night, so like.
I am.
There's no awkward. Do I watch this or that?
You can watch both. But it was like crazy because I was like, wow, 15,000. That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
There's so many people. Like imagine a room full of that people.
Yeah.
And now imagine them watching you.
Well, they're not all watching me at the same time.
No, but
thankfully.
they could be.
But that would be scary.
That would be scary.
That would be scary.
So yeah, this is Hyper RPG. This is graphic content. Let's dive into the news then, shall we? Let's see. Should we start off with the trailers?
Sure.
Yeah. So some trailers have dropped recently. This one is about, I don't know when this came out. I guess it was put
if
on.
If I'm like this, it's not because I'm like angry or tired. It's because I'm cold.
Cold? You're all bundled up.
I know. I don't know. It's weird. I don't do well.
You're one of those people that's always cold.
Yes. Almost eternally. That's why I bundle up during Vanquish so much. I always have like my scarf.
Yeah, I always get so warm during Vanquish. You're always just like
I'm always cold.
Cozy.
I'm always cold.
We'll get pumped. We'll get hyped, and we will.
And this room gets warm if you give it time.
This room does get warm.
But I just realized I'm like, my body language is probably super awkward. I should probably tell everybody why I'm being awkward today.
It's just chilly.
It's chilly. It's cold.
Yeah. It is cold. It is cold.
It's like rainy and disgusting outside.
And we had like the fall here was like pretty good for a while.
It
was like fuck you, we're not doing fall. And then it was like nope, now it's winter.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And that always happens in Seattle, but it usually happens way earlier, like mid-September.
It takes me like so long to acclimate because it's like it just happened so quickly, and our summer was so late this year.
Yeah. Man, stuff's weird. Weather is weird. It's fucked up. Anyway, let's talk about things that are not real. because it's great. Harbinger Renegade #1, which came out today. And of course, when we get to polls of the week and other things, we'll talk more about it. It was good.
I got this cool variant cover.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I had my choice of 3 and I chose this one.
That is really cool.
I liked how like ultra realistic it looked.
Yeah.
It looks like very like old, like these. They could be a picture of actual people.
Right. Yeah. Like
I love comic book covers that are like that.
What?
Say what?
Subscriber.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to the Ojimbo. Thank you for subscribing. We're now 4 subscribers away from a Steve Key. And if you want to go ahead and hit that subscription button, we will dance like we did, and that will keep Bronze warm. So subscribe to stop Bronze from freezing.
And thank you so much for supporting the channel. You're awesome.
Thank you. Welcome to the Thumper Fan. Hashtag Thumper Fan. So yeah, Valiant Comics Harbinger Renegade #1. There is a trailer here, and we are going to check it out.
Do you have the volume all
I'm
set
pretty
up?
certain this is going to work on the first try.
Yay! Woo!
All right.
First try
if
hype.
it does,
First
if it does,
try
I don't know,
hype.
but something cool. I already feel like this would be a good video to show people before watching Vanquished.
Yeah.
Like, what are we getting in for? Psyops.
Except for me. I'm not.
We actually only have 2 Psyops. There's 6.
Yeah.
I don't know why they put this on YouTube yesterday.
They probably should have put it out a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
to
I
give
think.
people a chance to snap it up.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not like some crazy Uber business person. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
they
I
have
mean,
a really good reason.
Yeah,
for
that's true.
doing
These
it.
people who make these decisions have a lot more information
Yeah.
and numbers and stuff. We're
Market
just,
research and analysis.
like,
so
I just got your book.
disregard us.
Yeah,
Money.
Oh, I didn't read
oh,
it. We'll read it.
we have the voiceover turned off. I'll have to fix that. Paximo 85 just $5. Can you do a Frank Computer voice?
Happy Comic Book Day, Bronze and Scott. Super pumped for Open Legend on Friday. Hashtag Bronzegum will be amazing.
I'm so glad that you did the phonetic. That's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because another thing we should hype on Friday. You are GMing Open Legend right here at Hyper RPG.
Yes.
It's going to be a 4-episode miniseries, right?
Yep, 4-episode miniseries. So it's gonna run through basically the end of December. I think the only week we're not gonna be, since the entire studio is gonna be closed, the week of November. Can't even talk today. The week of November. There you go, right fucking there. The week of Thanksgiving, that's
There
the
it
thing
is.
I don't celebrate. The studio's we're gonna be all on vacation that week. So that is the only week we won't be running. But other than that, it's gonna be just that Thursday and Friday. Thank you. I can't speak today. I just said the week of November.
I think you get a little bit of credit by saying you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Like,
Yeah.
forgetting something that is not part of your life is a lot more forgivable than forgetting something that is.
It just completely escapes my radar. I basically, for me, holidays are preparing for Halloween and then hibernating the rest of the year. You know, like,
Yeah.
I forget. Like, people are like, oh, did you get your Christmas tree? I'm like, oh, that thing. I should maybe get one. And then I realized, like, holy crap, it's November 15th and I don't have one. So
So there you go.
yeah, November 24th and 25th. Yes, so we're not going to have it that weekend. But other than that, yeah, we're going to be running it for 4 weeks. We have a bunch of cool guests, and we've already announced the cast, including, Bear Taffy and Ivan and Aurelian. They're going to be my main crew, and then we're going to have a special guest on literally every single one of the episodes.
Mm-hmm. And who are they going to be?
We got Anna Proctor, Jesse Fox, and Master.
Money.
What Paxamo84 said.
Yes.
Thank you. And that reminds us, you can interrupt the show just like Paxamo4 Critter just did with a tip as low as $5 or more, and you can have Friend Computer say anything you want to us.
That'll be great.
I would say within reason, but unfortunately that's not a caveat. You can just abuse your power if you want to.
First game of Open Legend was amazing. Thank you. I try. I try.
I'm really excited for this miniseries.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a very childlike GM, I feel like.
What do you mean?
I'm excited when I GM. Everybody's all like, oh, Bronze is gonna kill everybody. I'm like, do you even know me? Like, did you even watch the first episode? I'm like, super yay! Like, that's who I am. I'm like, let's get weird.
See, it's I feel like there's a lesson to learn about the way people are and the way people GM.
Yeah.
Being kind of opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How
Except for Zach.
except for Zach. Zach's
It's
just
my job to design ways to kill them.
exactly. See?
Renegade, you're going down on the finale of
Oh,
Death from Above
yeah.
this Friday. You're mine.
Don't-
Tyler said you're all dead.
But if you do that, then no one will like you. Oh shit.
The new face of Rai. The Rai don't give a fuck guy.
I just got looked dead in the eye and told I don't care. It's like, oh shit.
Oh man.
I knew that little leprechaun was very capable of incredible devious deeds. I'm a little bit stirred. Whew! I looked into the ginger abyss and it glared back at me.
Hashtag Ginger Abyss. Antajari, thank you for the bits.
Thank you.
If we could see our cup, I'm sure that we would be excited by it.
Our cup overfloweth, just like this. What is this? What do you have pulled up?
Okay, so this is the next. We got 3 trailers to do. They're all comic book related. This is the new movie.
I know what this is.
Valerian and the
Yes.
City of 1,000 Planets.
Yep.
Now, were you familiar with Valerian and Laureline before this trailer?
No.
Neither was I. So it turns out Valerian and Laureline is a French graphic novel series that ran from 77 or 67
Whoa,
to
old
2010. Like, it's a 40-year-long comic book series from France that apparently is hugely influential. Like, I ended up reading about it way more than I should have. I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. Apparently fantastic sci-fi. I'm a little bothered by the fact that apparently the whole thing is it's about this couple, Valerian and Laureline, and for the movie they were like, we'll just go with Valerian. We'll take the guy. He can be the main character, even though the series is called Valerian and Laureline.
Anyway, they have a history of doing that bullshit, though.
Yeah, they do. So Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
Now I feel
just saw
like
the internet freaking out about
there
this.
really needs to be you know what I grew up with as a comic / show?
What's that?
Tintin.
Tintin. Tintin is super old school.
Yeah, and I grew up in India and we had a lot of those British-esque shows and Tintin was all over the place. I kind of wish they made a really good Tintin movie.
I mean, they did. They made that live-action Tintin movie
Yeah.
5 years ago. I didn't see it, so I don't.
It wasn't great.
Oh, it's a shame.
But maybe a Tintin and Johnny Quest mashup. I want 10%. Hollywood, I want 10%.
Tintin Johnny Quest, get on it.
Well, you'd have the dapper little big guy with his little puppy, and then you'd have, Johnny Quest with his like racial stereotype Haji behind him.
Right.
And it'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of stereotypes. Tintin and Johnny Quest coming together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Tintin. It makes me love British people.
You know Tintin's from like the 20s?
Is he that old? No
Yeah.
way.
Tintin's older than fucking Superman. It's crazy how old school Tintin is.
Yeah.
Tintin was a CGI movie. Yeah, it's apparently I haven't seen it again, but that is what it looked like. It is very dated. It's pretty racist.
Oh, Johnny Quest?
Tintin.
Oh, Tintin?
Tintin.
What's racist in Tintin? Did I miss something?
I mean, it's just like you said about Johnny Quest. It is all super stereotypical.
Oh.
It's like that.
But
He's
Tintin
not,
himself isn't
he himself
racist.
isn't that racist.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the portrayal is
yeah,
racist.
no, I can see that.
But it's still like artistically and even writing wise, super ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to any
It
other
actually
comics
aged
that were coming
really
out
well.
of America. Yeah. Yeah.
It actually looks good. If you go back and read it now, it still looks
Yeah.
good.
Like you go back and read a Golden Age comic from like World War II, and it's like, this.
Yeah.
Like you gotta remind yourself, it was cheap printing. It was four
There's
colors.
only some I
nothing
can
more.
read. Like, even when I'm going through my Marvel Masterworks, there's only a few that I, like, basically Doctor Strange is, like, the only one where I'm like, I still 100% completely enjoy this, even though it's, like, Stan Lee's cringe writing. Because you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I do.
Like,
I
it's
do.
just, like, or he's, like, they say the same things, like, 8 times, like, they have to explain it to a baby. Like, literally, he'll be like, you know, oh, I cannot astrally project while I'm inside the dreamscape, and if only I could astrally project within the dreamscape. I'm like, I know, you literally just said that, and like, oh, if I can't astrally project, what else can I do? I must think upon the ancient ones teaching them. I'm like, okay, Stephen Strange, I love you, but you just said the same thing 3 times in a row. And you're like, that's Stan Lee.
That is Stan. Yeah, I mean, it's important to remember
He's
Stan
gonna
Lee
beat
is
you over the head.
Stan
with
Lee
the
is
fact
hugely
that you can't,
influential
like...
and built the Marvel Universe along with Jack Kirby. But being an influential writer and being a good writer are 2 different things. And being good at coming up with characters and plot and being good at writing are 2 different things. Yeah. Silver Age comics, Golden Age comics, you gotta remind yourself that you're reading them and why you're reading them.
But in Doctor Strange's case, I think it works. Like the hokey weirdness, like the Eureka. It works with Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
like I feel that way about a lot of the 60s X-Men. Like, it's a bunch of, like,
Yeah.
hokey kids in a school and, like...
Yeah.
Like,
I
of
always
course-
like Claremont stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I love Claremont's X-Men.
When
Yeah.
I go back and read like the old X-Men, I feel like there's some of the most advanced, like dialogue-wise.
Yeah. I mean, they still have the problem of, especially like the narration and all Claremont stuff is just like, this is just the script. Like, I have art for this. You don't need to tell me what's going on in every fucking panel.
And then I get confused because I never read like, now, okay, you know what, shamefully, now I'm recognizing characters that I didn't know who they were before. And so
It's shameful.
I
That's
was rereading
comics.
some
Comics
old
are
stuff.
older than everybody who's reading them, so we
Yeah.
all go through that.
Money.
Okay, had to donate one more time because I now love Bronze 1,000 times more because she is a fellow Tintin fan.
Yes, I am.
Hashtag Tintin Snowy Haddock.
Oh, I love you too, Paximo. You are a beautiful baby snow angel. Oh, but I just heard somebody laugh. But you know what's funny is like I was going through some of my old books, and I had no idea, but Misty Knight was apparently Jean Grey's roommate.
Yeah,
It has
Misty
to be the
Knight
same
and
character.
Jean live together.
But she's just she's just an angry black lady. Like she doesn't even have like the arm.
Yeah.
And she's not like a cop. At least she doesn't say she is. She's just like this angry roommate that like is like pissed all the time. And then I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, wait, Misty. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wait. Is
I
that
think
Misty
she
Knight?
was a
And then
relatively small character at the time, and Claremont loved doing that. Just like grabbing like his way of showing the modern Marvel universe was like, here's a face you recognize.
But why
and
were
just
they
like
roommates?
I don't know.
What the
because everybody lives in the same fucking city in Marvel. New York. You can't get a roommate without them being a goddamn superhero in New York, probably.
I like had read that book forever ago, and I've read it like 4 times, and never realized it was Misty Knight because I didn't know who Misty Knight was. And now I'm just like, wait, why is she just chilling as Jean Grey's like sort of really mean roommate? Like, what the heck is going on here?
Rob Alley points out, I think this is right, that they were in college together.
Oh, so she wasn't a cop yet. right? Yeah, because she wouldn't
It's
have
not-
been.
no, she wouldn't
So she
have been,
wasn't
no.
a detective yet.
Yeah.
And then obviously she didn't have her arm
No,
yet.
that arm.
Yeah, I didn't put that together.
I don't. I've read so little Iron Fist that I have no idea, like chronologically, when any of that stuff happens.
I don't know. I didn't realize that Jean Grey was already operating with the X-Men when Misty was still in college. I didn't know that.
Well, Jean Grey is OG X-Men #1.
Right,
for the
right.
Original 5.
See, it wasn't Misty already a detective when she was rooming with She doesn't mention it. She at no point does she like I've read it and at no point does she mention she's a detective. And so I was confused. I was like,
Wait,
I don't know what the heck
so-
is going on.
I listened to this podcast called Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men, and now remember they point out that it's kind of ridiculous in that issue how Misty Knight is a detective and doesn't fucking notice all this weird mutant shit happening through her apartment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
there's weird shit going. And I don't know if she's a college. I don't know because someone says she's a college. I don't know if she's a college student. I don't know if she's a detective. But it's weird because she just seems to be oblivious to what's going on, or she just seems to not have any input on it.
She's just there.
It's
Comics.
Comics.
Not all cameos are good ones. But anyway, let's watch the Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets trailer.
Let's do it.
It will be very clear early on why this trailer exists and why it's a big deal, where it comes from. Guardians of the Galaxy. Like immediately.
Home sweet home.
We got the Beatles, we got sci-fi. Oh yeah, it's by Luke Besson, who did Fifth Element.
It makes me because the sky is blue. Because the wind is high, it blows my mind.
We get on just great. You flirt. I smile.
Yeah, we're a team.
That actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Yeah, normally I'm really critical of trailers, but that actually looks pretty neat.
My first thought is this is clearly the culmination of like the last 15 years of sci-fi. You know, like everything that I saw,
Yeah.
I could pick out a sci-fi movie I've seen that in.
Yeah.
Like there was the Mad Max moment, there was the Star Wars moment.
Yeah.
You know,
I have to say, I was kind of liking how it seemed like they were going a more mature or like dark route in the beginning. But then, if you look at the animation quality of some of those aliens, it's so reminiscent of like the more comical aliens that you see in the prison scenes and Guardians of the Galaxy. They have
Yeah.
the same sort of facial expressions, where it's kind of like, yeah, like the dopey looking aliens almost. But then, I don't know, it was weird. Yeah.
yeah. But so my first thought was, it seems like basic sci-fi, and then I learned a lot about Valerian and Lorelei, and I thought that was cool. But I remind myself, Fifth looks like just plain ass basic sci-fi. Like there's this random thing in a world full of sci-fi. Why would you watch it? And I love that movie. I think Fifth
That is
Element
one of my
great.
favorite movies of
Yeah.
all time.
And so the fact that Fifth Element is like, yeah, we can use basic genre trappings. We don't need to redefine sci-fi to make sci-fi great.
Yeah.
And so if this is the idea, then I'm down.
Yeah, dude, don't even get me started on Fifth Element. Fifth Element is like,
Movie's so good.
oh, and they just, it's like the small things, like right when she falls into his cab and he starts running from police and they start playing the Pakistani Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan music, and I was listening to him like ever since I was a little kid. And I was like, oh my god, they're playing like actual quality Qawwali music, like, and it fits in the scene and like this, like in like this like futuristic like sci-fi dystopian future. I'm like, why did nobody ever do this before?
Yeah.
Like Indian, like the tabla and the sitar were made to fit in this universe. That
Yeah,
don't get me started. That movie is
just,
amazing.
it just reeks of personality.
It does.
Like there's just so much in that movie that big bada boom. It's just like every little thing, you just love it. even like I think that is Chris Tucker's best performance.
In that movie. People hate him.
I love him so much. He's so funny.
I saw somebody cosplaying that Ruby. Is it Ruby Rod?
Yeah, Ruby Rod.
That character at last Emerald City Comic Con, and they had the microphone with like a speaker built into the base of the microphone, so they were really loud. And like I had like a fangirl moment because he was just like, "Oh my God, it's Miss Marvel," and he was like, you know, "Tell me how you feeling." And I just stood there, I was like, "Oh my God, I just fangirled." And he had the big hair cannon, you know, like the big blonde one.
Yeah.
It was so great. I love that character. I love that movie.
I should know that was supposed to be Prince, and I'm sure Prince would have done great. But I think that if it were Prince, it would have been a smaller role, and it would have been like, "Oh look, and Prince being Prince,"
busy.
and like Chris Tucker is a comedian.
Yeah, no, he brought something
funny.
to it that was great.
You know?
He really did.
Yeah.
He really did.
So yeah, I mean, Valerian seems cool. It's got, you know, Norman Osborn and Enchantress in it.
I hope they really push the envelope with it. I
Me
want
too.
to see what they can do with it.
Me too. I feel like I wouldn't be giving it a shot if it weren't for Fifth Element, but I'm also comfortable with that.
Same.
Because I mean, that's also like I follow creators all the time that I'm like, well, I trusted them, so I'll check it out, and it works. So yeah, it looks cool. One more trailer.
Let's see. Oh, just.
And this is an animated one. I did not know until the trailer came out that this is going to be another rated R movie, which The Killing Joke was, but that's a little different because The Killing Joke was like an M-rated comic. And so this is Justice League Dark, or the trailer for it, which apparently is going to be rated R.
They're everywhere!
These crimes were committed by law-abiding citizens.
They all have seen nightmare visions beforehand. The same pattern is repeating around the world, so there could be an overriding paranormal element.
Are you talking about magic? Then we have to find John Constantine.
I love that line. Anytime they say we have to find John Constantine, the little girl in me goes, ooh. I get excited.
Into the house! Come on, it's a dream team. You, me, Zatanna, Batman, maybe even a Justice League.
Let's take a walk on the dark side then.
Swamp Thing!
You dare threaten the green.
Yeah. Draga Magnifique. Draga
Really all my
Magnifique.
favorite.
The demon!
Let's do this.
Fuck it off.
Your life is a patchwork of blackness with no time for joy. How do you cope with it?
I have a butler.
I'm excited. I'm
Classic
excited.
Batman.
I live for that.
Yeah,
shit.
I'm really excited.
I missed
for
that
this
run.
movie.
I missed that. Like there was a comic book run of like the
Justice League Dark.
yeah, and they got rid of it. Well, they didn't get rid of it. It ended, and they never picked it up. And I was kind of hoping they'd pick it up when they announced Rebirth, but they didn't. But oh man, don't get me started. At least we have Hellblazer.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And Swamp Thing is a huge part of the current Hellblazer run.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. He's
I'm not
like,
reading it because
right.
I suck.
Yeah. No. In the current run of Hellblazer, Swamp Thing is about half of that comic.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm a huge fan of Swamp Thing. So, yeah. No, I'm excited for this. It's like all my favorite people. I like the normal Justice League, but not nearly as much as I like Justice League Dark. So.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited. I really think they didn't show it this much in the trailer. There's like you can see kind of a making of a little vignette that they released when the Killing Joke came out that sort of teases a little more of the movie, but it's more like, you know, the behind the scenes design stuff. And I'm really interested to see how they do the House of Mystery and how Black Orchid is kind of just going to be the avatar of the House of Mystery. But like the house they're in is like sentient and like a super powerful magical entity. And so like the idea of, you know, the Black Orchid being like, I see into you, Batman, like that's more than just like some creepy girl. It's like we're gonna learn a lot about people are going to come to grips with the fact that they suck to a certain degree. And I like when these dark characters, especially characters like John Constantine, who is the jackass of the DC universe. If there ever was one, that's him. And I love when he gets to hold the mirror up to the people like Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
And are like, we're not so fucking different, you and me.
Constantine, that is like the one thing, I have to like ration out like my reading of Constantine with other comics because he's like so depressed, like truly depressed. Like he's haunted by the ghosts of his dead friends, like literally. Well, no, not anymore, but he was, like, for the entire last run, he was literally haunted by the ghost of his dead friend, who would just follow him around everywhere, and he'd talk to this guy, you know, and he always talks about how, like, oh, I don't want to get close to people. Like, he had a boyfriend at one point, and he's like, there's no point in getting close to people, because they're all gonna fucking die, because I had this terrible history. He's, like, he's not your conventional superhero, and I think that's why I've always loved him. So, yeah, no, I'm excited. But even now, I'm shocked with the rated R rating.
Yeah, me too. Like,
because I didn't see anything in that trailer.
Yeah, like,
that
it looked
felt like
pretty
it was gonna
fucked
be,
up, but not R-rated
not
Justice
an
League
R-rated.
movie.
So I was waiting for like, okay, what's it gonna be? And it's like, oh, well,
I mean, they might be waiting
really
for, you know, hiding some things. I expect it to probably be gore and violence just over the edge.
But we didn't see anything like that.
No, we
they're
didn't.
Like using magic and stuff. So I'm like.
But like Etrigan's in there and he's gonna dismember something because like that's he likes to do that. I love the demon. I love that he's like a superhero that's also like straight up a villain at the same time. like depending on the writer, you don't know if they're gonna be like demon is a villain or demon is a hero.
Yeah.
And which is also kind of how Constantine goes. Except for Constantine is more like about towing the line, where Etrigan's like, I'm just gonna be on either side of it.
Yes.
Maybe both at the same time.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And Matt Ryan is back as Constantine. I love Matt Ryan as Constantine. I got that. Thank you.
I really want like a really good Constantine in live action. There was actually I'm not gonna get into this. There's actually things I liked about the Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah, I actually have not seen the Keanu Reeves.
I didn't like the movie as a whole, but there are things I liked about it. I feel like you should be able to say that. I know every time I mention that movie, people get like, ugh, and I'm like, well, there are things I liked about it. And thank you guys for all the bits.
Thank you.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. I feel like Swamp Thing is deserving of his own series.
I don't think that would happen.
I think
he deserves it, but I don't think that people are ready.
I don't think it will. I also think that part of the problem is that you have to animate him. Like Swamp Thing is just too expensive to be a main character.
There's no way. You'd have to CG that. If you were to do a live action, it'd have to be CG.
Yeah, whereas like, Constantine, you just put a guy in a duster.
Yeah,
and give him a cigarette.
But casting's so important for that.
Oh, casting is important. I think Matt Ryan was great, but it's still cheap, right?
Yeah.
You get a costume and you've got Constantine, whereas you have to budget every episode Swamp Thing. So, but he's so deserving of his own. I love Alec Holland. I think he's great.
If you haven't read, like, especially Alan Moore's run of Swamp Thing, guys, you should.
It's legendary.
It's really good. And I've actually also recently discovered it's hard for me to read.
Yeah.
The lettering.
Yeah.
I have to pull out, like, my special glasses for it, because I'm just like... I didn't realize how poorly it had aged because it's like squiggly and almost a little bit out of focus.
Yes, Swamp Thing is one of those characters that has like a specific font that's all
jagged
to
it's
show
tough.
that
And I didn't realize how tough it was. Maybe I'm an old lady now because I was sitting there like I actually have to pull out my glasses for this one. I don't usually have to do that.
Rectangular magnifying glasses.
Yeah, I was just like how, but it's still a good run and you should check it out.
Yes. All right, so those are the trailers. Good movies are coming out. Hopefully, at least that seems good. I think it's New York. Oh no, Amazon. Amazon has released their best-selling comics and graphic novels of 2016, so the top 20. And the top of the list is Monstrous.
I'm so excited.
Apparently.
I'm so excited.
Oh, yes. I didn't realize that I had it. We'll go full screen for this because we know how to work computers.
Yeah, I love Monstrous. I was turned on to this by our very own Steph. And been in love with it ever since. And she actually gifted. She let me keep it.
Oh.
At first, she let me borrow the first volume, and now she let me keep it because she's such a sweetheart. And I love this book, and I'm really happy that it's at the top of the list for this year.
Yeah,
it's so awesome. It has a female protagonist, and it literally kind of delves into the nature of being monstrous.
And that Marjorie Liu is just like badass.
Yeah.
Great writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
read.
It's fucking beautiful. It's like the most beautiful graphic novel. I actually feel comfortable saying it's the most beautiful, like, because I read it in graphic novel form, not singles, but it's the most beautiful thing I've read this year, easily. Like in terms of just art, it's just fucking gorgeous from page to page. It's just absolutely, like, you think like, oh, that's the cover. The rest of the comic isn't gonna look like that. It will. It's fucking gorgeous.
That cover is like every panel in that book.
And the creatures in it, like all the little demons and shit. Oh man.
No, I read the first
monsters,
couple
rather.
issues. I've been meaning to catch up, but
So
that's true
good.
for like so in many comics.
There's too many to keep on top of.
So many,
I have
but
like
yeah.
you see my stack, and I've only read this many, not even that one, but like this
Yeah.
many, but I have my giant stack, so
It's not easy.
it's
Okay,
hard to keep
so
on top of it.
so we're just gonna go through in order. Maybe it isn't at the top of the list. Okay, I guess this list claims to be in order of sales, but also this article says that Monstrous is the top of the list, and yet Monstrous is the middle of this list. So one of those things has to be a lie. I don't know which one, but we'll go through. We'll talk about the ones that we know about. Some of these I have not heard of, because there's lots of comics. Ghosts by Rihanna Telgemir. Mobius Library, The World of Edina by Mobius. Black Panther, A Nation Under Our Feet, Book 1, that's Ta-Nehisi Coates' run, the first trade of the recent run. March, Book 3, which, if you guys don't know, March is a book co-written by Congressman John Lewis, who, marched with Martin Luther King in Selma.
That's awesome.
And this is him telling that story in graphic novel form. So it's the story of the civil rights movement in a comic. It's called March. I get it. I'm getting this the last 3 years. It's been my Christmas gift for my father every year. So here you go. Get more March. It's awesome. He loves it. Monstrous Volume 1. Awesome. Paper Girls Volume 1. Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. Basically, it's like Stranger Things, but with girls who have a paper route. That book is awesome. Vision Volume 1 by Tom King, which, of course, Zach has been crazy about. Patience by Daniel Close. Dark Knight, A True Batman Story by Paul Dini. That's Paul Dini was mugged in like 91 or 92, and he just kind of lost his ability to work and lost his faith in Batman for a while. And Paul Dini was one of the big writers of Batman series and
created Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and the mugging happened while they were writing Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh.
And so basically, this is kind of an autobiographical telling of how he dealt with that, and has like kind of the Batman figures as different parts of his psyche.
Aww.
That's definitely my favorite thing on this. Probably my favorite graphic novel of this year was Dark Knight: A True Batman Story. He is so naked in it. It is.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's super great. Neil Gaiman's How to Talk to Girls at Parties by Neil Gaiman and Gabrielle
I
Ba.
love everything that man does. He's a
I
treasure.
don't know what this is, but I'm gonna.
He's just a national treasure.
He really legitimately is. I mean, he's not our national treasure because
I'm gonna
he's not
claim him
American,
as
but-
ours.
Okay. Okay. We got you, Gaiman.
When I say someone's our national treasure, he's our national treasure now. I say we take Gaiman and we send Trump over.
I would take that trade. Rolling Blackouts. Dispatches from Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, October 4, 2016. That's the full name of the book by Sarah Glidden. That sounds interesting. Clean Room Volume 1 by Gail Simone. That is a horror comic that Gail Simone is writing for Vertigo. That my girlfriend has been reading, and she cries. And it's apparently very, very good and very emotional and super great. And it's Gail Simone getting into her inner Grant Morrison. Princess Jellyfish by Kiko Higashimura, which I've heard that Princess Jellyfish is like, it's one of those out of left field, nobody thought this comic was ever going to exist, and now people are freaking loving it.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of these I haven't been reading that have like come in under the radar.
Yeah. Hot Dog Taste Test by Lisa Hannawalt. I don't know that.
Don't know that one.
Rosalie Lightning, a graphic memoir by Tom Hart. Probably Tom Hart's memoir. Black Magic, Volume 1 by Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott. Those are two creators I really like. Faith, Volume 1 by Hollywood Vibe by Jody Hauser.
List. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Valiant
Faith.
made the list. That's great.
Yeah, that's-
Like, this is the 20 best-selling
Yeah,
comics.
yeah, like Valiant flies kind of under the radar in the
But
world
they
of
made the
comics.
list.
Faith, look at that.
That's awesome.
Top 20.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome.
And yet people think that comics with female protagonists won't sell. So,
And yet Faith is one of Valiant's strongest characters.
and Monstrous.
And Monstrous is kicking all
And
kinds
Paper
of
Girls,
ass.
so maybe-
Paper Girls. Isn't
maybe
Black
fucking-
Magic female led too?
Yes. Maybe you just don't fucking assholes.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence to the other side. The Birth of Kitaro by Shigeru Mizuki and Zach Davison, and Exits by Daryl Seitchik are the last two. I'm gonna hope I said most of those names right. I don't know.
I don't think they'll come for you if you didn't.
I don't think they will either. But I try. I just try to be correct. I don't know. I don't even know what I try to be. I try to, because like I don't. Nice isn't the right word because it's not nice to. I try. I guess I just try is all. Yeah, good year for comics. Good year for comics, and yeah, like the only one of these that is like an A-list superhero is the Batman. Vision. Well, it was Vision and Black Panther, which usually don't show up on top 20, right? The only there's one Batman book, and it's
not technically.
It's barely Batman. Yeah. It's not even. It's technically a Vertigo book, so it's not actually even a DC book. Good list. Good list. Let's see what else is going on in the news. Oh, that's for me. This I was surprised that anybody even remembers this. Apparently, Todd McFarlane has teased that Haunt might be coming back.
I don't even know what that is.
Haunt was a book in 2008, 2009, around then when The Walking Dead was just blowing up, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you remember the late aughts when there was like Zombieland and Left 4 Dead and just just zombie everything, and The Walking Dead would start soon. So Robert Kirkman got a lot of books around then. Because he had written The Walking Dead. He was given Haunt, he started writing Thief of Thieves, he started writing Outcast. Bunch of stuff started right then.
I actually really like Thief of Thieves.
Which, and yeah, I mean, I'm not saying none of them are bad books, but like it was the rise of Kirkman, who is now one of the guys running Image and has his own imprint and stuff. So one of those books was Haunt, which was drawn by mostly Greg Capullo, who is known mostly for Spawn, as well as Todd McFarlane, who created Spawn, and a and a little bit of Ryan Ottley, the Invincible artist. So a lot of people called it Spont and kind of wrote it off as like, we don't care about Spont. And Capullo and Kirkman were like, no, we're not McFarlane. We can write better than Todd. So it ran for 28 issues, and everybody basically forgot about it immediately. And apparently, Todd McFarlane posted on like Instagram or whatever he posted it on, just a picture of Haunt, being like, has anybody wondered what Haunt is up to lately? So Haunt might be coming back. Which I just think I've had the first two trades in my apartment for like 4 years and have been meaning to read them, and I guess I finally will.
And that's why it wasn't super popular first time around. I mean, you don't feel a huge pull to read
right, and it was definitely the kind of project that it seemed at the time at least, and again, I'm saying this having not read it, which is of course like the least valuable opinion on a book, but it felt at the time like this was, these creators are popular, this will sell a book.
Yeah.
You know? Let's put Kirkman and Capullo together and see what happens.
Movies are like that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot
this
of people,
director, this actor, is this gonna
roll
work?
their eyes at me because I'll say that on movies I haven't been to, and I'm like, it just kind of feels like they're just trying to sell tickets. So I can totally sympathize with
that's
that.
How I felt about like the last 10 years of Tim Burton.
Yeah, all of his movies are kind of the same, and this is kind of for somebody who like, I was obsessed with Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. I think right up until like basically like anything after Sweeney Todd is kind of when I started writing him off, where it's like, and I like Sweeney Todd, but like everything after that I was like,
and it's like, he and Johnny Depp did a lot of really good work at Hello
They
Carter,
did.
And then they went overboard, you know.
It was around the Alice in Wonderland stuff where it started being like, this is not the Tim Burton that
I want to see Big Eyes though. That looks really good.
I don't even know what that is.
It's about this artist that I should know the name. They're these kind of famous paintings with like big, like gaunt, dark eyes in them. And this apparently actually the man credited for this work was not an artist. His wife was, but you couldn't be a female artist at the time. So he took credit for her work. And so it's the story of them. And like, I know this is totally disconnected, but my favorite Tim Burton movie by a wide margin is Big Fish. I love Big Fish. And I know that Big Eyes and Big Fish only sound related, and they're not. But I'm like, well, if Big Fish was good, I'll give Big Eyes a chance.
That's my favorite Burton movie. Probably Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
It was like my first Tim Burton movie too. So that always like has a special place in your heart where you're like, this movie's weird and different and I like it.
Yeah.
Just like my favorite Guy Ritchie movie will always be Lock, Stock, because it was the first one I watched. And everyone else will be like, Snatch, and I'm like, no, it has to be Lock, Stock for me because I
Like
watched
the one
that
person
one
who
first.
likes it more than Snatch.
Everybody else likes Snatch more.
And
then there's
to
me,
be
and I'm
fair,
like,
my
no,
first-
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking
like-
Barrels is the best Guy Ritchie movie.
My first Guy Ritchie movie was Snatch.
See?
Right? So I'm
So
like,
it's what
yeah, of course mine is
I
Snatch.
like Rock
So
and
I was
Rolla
like,
too. I like all of them. Anyways.
Anyway, we like movies. This is graphic content, but we also like movies. The one thing we want to admit we like is books.
Yeah, no, books are like
Books are lame.
Books are like comics without pictures.
Yeah.
Sounds
We like-
lame to me.
Like visually.
This makes me excited.
This is exciting too to me. So Marvel has announced a new series in their Star Wars line.
Yes!
Oh, sorry. Were you asking about books?
That scared the shit out of me.
Let me tell you a thing or two about books.
Can I see that? What is this?
This is The Crossing. Oh my! What the fuck?
That was a little bit of
You
a
guys
harsh reaction.
are anarchists. Oh my god. This is Rai's pick of the week. It's The Crossing by Cormac McCarthy. There ain't no pictures except for what's on the cover, because you gotta use your brain to imagine everything else. It's like a muscle. Exercise it, treat it right. Why is this book awesome? It's about frontier life. The prose is excellent, and also there's a chapter from the perspective of a wolf, and so it's all smell-based, and like it's describing the world in terms of what other animals it's picking up in the area that have been there
Comics do
historically.
that?
So you know why this book is so fucking big though? They have to describe what you're seeing every time you see anything.
So Moonshine, part of the issue 1 of Moonshine, this is issue 2, is actually written from the point of view of a werewolf, except they didn't have to spend
That does sound
28
pretty
pages of pointless exposition on it because you just get to see what's happening.
Whoa, it's not pointless at all because you get to live this in your mind. It
But we get
transports
to
you into
see
the
it.
mind of the wolf.
We get to see it.
But that's different. This is in the head. That's in your eyes. That's my argument. Till I think of something better.
I wouldn't say that you're mutually
I feel like
exclusive.
that's a really weak argument.
I just don't think that it's the same experience. I'm not saying one experience is better than the other. I think they're different experiences, and that's why we should value both of them. Oh shit.
Money.
This donation is for Scott and showing Rai just how much he likes that book. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Arizona.
Wow.
Side eyes take. Why not both?
Because who's got that fucking kind of time? I ain't got that kind of time.
The only books I read are the ones written by comic book writers.
So like just like the occasional Gaiman novel.
Yeah, actually, I'm not lying, Gaiman, that's it.
Gaiman is pretty great though. So
Yeah.
he is good for all people. Also, Cormac McCarthy doesn't use punctuation, which I love. That's
You know
it.
what? I'm totally lying. I read a lot of books.
No, we do like books. We just don't have time to talk about them
I
on the
just
show.
read the
I'm
really.
gonna find something you love and throw it across the fucking room, Scott.
Here's the thing. When I read books, I only read really depressing books, like 3 Cups of Tea, or Palestinian Walks, or The Kite Runner, and like just really depressing political books.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it.
I'm at a point basically where at this point the books I read are just whatever my brother gives me. My brother gives me novels and I have this like stack coming up where I'm like, I can't read anything that's not from Steven now. Steven's my brother, if you couldn't assume.
Stephen and Scott.
Yep.
Now we know more
My
about
sister's
you.
name is Sarah. We're all
Why would
S's.
your parents do that?
Actually, so my sister's
That would be
older,
so.
and my brother and I are twins. And so
Oh, you have a twin?
I have
Are you
a
identical?
twin. We are not.
Oh,
we don't look
okay.
at all alike.
That's actually probably better.
Yeah, I mean it is probably better. Here's the thing.
They are so very, very not identical.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very good. The thing is,
Steven is so clean cut.
yeah, my brother's very clean cut. He's taller than me. He has short hair. He can't really grow a beard that well.
This is crazy. This
yeah.
is blowing my mind.
Yeah. No, my brother, he's getting his PhD at Stanford in chemistry.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. He's super smart.
Well, shit.
Yeah, no, so my sister was Sarah, and then my parents liked the name Scott, and were like, well, we don't want the third one to feel left out, so they chose an S name so that Steven wouldn't feel left out from Sarah and Scott. And so that's how we all became SS.
Damn.
Yep. A little bit of history of the Shukin family.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
All of you, like, Christmas must have been so
And
confusing.
the S stands for hope.
Really? Is that really?
It's
Cause Superman? Or
no.
was that intentional?
No, it was not. Nobody in my family cared
Oh,
about
I
Superman.
don't
except
know.
me.
I'm like, maybe his dad really. I'm like taking it seriously.
No, you know what's funny though is like, is you said that, and Emily started laughing because Emily and I went to high school together. By the way, we grew up together, so she knows my family. Anybody asking my kid that question, that would be a totally logical question to ask.
Yeah.
Like, did your fucking parents name you after Superman? Like, the answer's probably gonna be yes.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I have already talked about how we love the name Clark for a girl.
Aww, look at you guys. I'm thinking Christmas must have been so confusing because all of your stockings had S on them.
No, they had to. We actually had stockings with our names embroidered on them.
Oh yeah, because then initials wouldn't work.
Yeah, the initials didn't work.
Yeah.
And so like anything that was initials, we always had all three with different middle name initials. So that was handy.
Well, there you have it.
Oh no, I'm not gonna name my kid Kal-El. I'm not gonna go full.
Cal is a cute name.
What's his name? Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage's son is named Kal-El.
Really?
Yep.
Cal is a great name.
Yeah, Cal is a good name. Short
I love
for Calvin.
that. I'm freaking love that name, Cal.
And Nine Master Clark is not necessarily a girl's name. That doesn't necessarily mean it can't be. My girlfriend's name is Ryan, by the way. So there's also like she's into gender swapping names because she's Ryan, her sister is Danny, and her other sister is Stevie. So she has a history.
My mind's being blown right now.
Yeah,
I don't think I can take all this in one sitting. But literally, I'm just like, what? What?
Yes. Okay. Those are the people I know. Let's get back to comics. This is an honesty hour.
Yeah, most names are gender ambiguous.
Yeah.
Yeah, most names that I can think of go both ways. In India, at least.
Cool.
It's kind of funny. So yeah. So Darth Maul comic. I love Darth Maul,
yeah.
and I love.
And it's by Cullen Bunn, who is just such a badass.
And I love all of the other Star Wars comics they've put out. Actually, I don't think there's one yet that I haven't liked. Even the C-3PO one-shot that I had kind of written off when I did finally read it, I was like, this is actually kind of dope. Why did I like senselessly just say no to this one? Actually, you know what? I'm lying. I actually didn't like the Leia run.
Really? That's actually the one I haven't read all of them, but I read when they first started the first wave, Star Wars, Leia.
Yeah.
I read all those, and Darth Vader was the only one that I didn't really like.
Oh, I got into Darth Vader.
I was just so
Darth
bothered
Vader
that
started out rocky for me.
Yeah, maybe I didn't stick with it because the beginning, like, he just felt like a little bitch. Like they turned Darth Vader into this little bitch, and I was like, he should be so intimidating. Yeah. And like we'll talk about. I read Infamous Iron Man today. And that felt like Darth Vader to me. Like Iron Doom is straight up Darth Vader.
No, he's
he
amazing.
Just doesn't give
I
a
like it.
fuck, and he just knows everybody's afraid of him.
I agree. That it's like the best thing.
I will say though, Leia was unlike the other ones in that its art style did not feel like the movies. It didn't have that nostalgic thing, and it was very much like this is kind of its own little adventure. It stood alone well in a way that I understand also like made it feel less impactful. And also Leia it's one of those books that you could tell from the writing it was supposed to be ongoing and then it became a mini-series. And so they had to compress a lot of it a little too fast.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that one, especially after like the Shattered Empire.
Yeah, Star Wars
Shattered something right before it. That was really good. And
that was Greg Rucka's 4-issue miniseries.
And then I love Poe Dameron, and you know what really hit it out of the park for me was Lando.
Yeah.
That is like I to this day it's like one of my fucking
Those are the
favorite
two Star Wars that are books that are still on my reading list. I haven't started.
Yeah,
are
Lando is like,
and Poe Dameron.
Lando is short and incredibly, like in my opinion, overpriced.
Yeah.
Because it's like $18 or whatever Marvel charges, and it's like this really tiny.
Yeah, it's just 5 issues, right?
Yeah, I don't know why they're charging that much for it. But that being said, thematically, oh my god, it's so freaking amazing. The coloring in the freaking comic sets the mood for the whole thing. The tone, like it just hits the nail on the head. And if you're like me and you grew up like, oh my god, I like Lando because he looks like my dad, then oh my god, you're gonna like this gives you more backstory and humanizes him more. Sort of like fleshes out his character more. Thank you for the follow, Ferret. So yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of the Lando comic, and I want more. I'm really mad that it was a miniseries because I want more.
Yeah.
Like my favorite characters from the Star Wars universe are the ones that are like, they're not Jedi or Sith.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Like I love Han Solo and I love his run. So I want to see more of those characters that maybe aren't like heavy Force users because I like to see them operating in a universe where people can use the Force because it's more, there's more danger there and it's just you feel more like. It's like if you were in that universe, you know, you can relate to them.
And that's part of why I feel like the characters that like I really liked from the new movie were specifically Poe Dameron and I can't believe I'm blanking on the main Stormtrooper.
Finn.
And Finn, right? And I think that's part of why is that Finn had some Force sensitivity. Rey was so like, I'm the George Lucas character. I will speak with George Lucas language.
Yeah.
And that the other ones were like, they were in the world more than they were the world. Like the Jedi and the Sith, you know, and George Lucas is very like, bad guy, good guy. Like he was building in his mind a kid's franchise.
Yeah.
Right. And that like characters then like Lando and Han who fit in the middle. That's where kind of on accident I think the depth comes.
Yeah, and Lando especially is super great character, you know? And I love those. And like Poe Dameron, he already has like a great legacy going for him because in the comics we got to meet his mom, Shara Bay, who is Bay. There's a reason that's her last name.
Shara Bay or Bay of the Day.
Yeah. Oh, she is a cutie pie. But yeah, I'm excited for the Darth Maul comic.
So Darth Maul by Cullen Bunn and Luke Ross.
It's gonna be good. I can already feel it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and Cullen Bunn, like he wrote Sinestro and Lobo and Magneto. He's like the bad guy.
Yeah,
he's really good, and he's really good at like he doesn't take the bad guys and find out how to make them protagonists and anti-heroes or whatever. He's like, nope, Sinestro fucking villain. Fuck you. This guy doesn't give a fuck, and Darth Maul's gonna be that way. And with Darth Maul, he's got a lot of room to breathe because Darth Maul is basically just a character design.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he can take it any direction he wants.
Yeah, like
I'm excited to see it.
It's a real shape, right? Super awesome character design.
The only good thing to come out of the
musical
prequels.
theme. I will always defend pod racing.
Well, the video game,
Pod
okay.
racing.
Now pod racing is kind of cool.
But you're right that like, and also like of Darth Maul, the only good part of the villainy in that movie was what it looked like, and the music behind it. That da, 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 that was awesome.
Yeah, he did have the cool music. Well, and I always loved his like.
And then for some reason there were these
his
random doors.
lightsaber.
Yeah, he had a double lightsaber.
That was cool.
That was the thing when you were a kid, you got one as a toy, and you realized that if you had one, you would cut the shit out of your legs off immediately. That was the experience I went through when I got my toy lightsaber, which I'm sure lots of us did when we were young. I learned the lesson that if I had a lightsaber, I would very quickly lose most of my limbs. I am not a swordsman.
Anything that's like dual slighted like that, you kind of have to be careful, right? Yeah. Like, have you ever like tried to learn how to use nunchucks?
I actually have, yes.
Yeah, no, you fuck your arms up pretty quickly.
You
have,
You have to.
You have to. While you're learning, you will fuck your shit up.
Yeah, no,
I trained
karate for about 10 years.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I didn't do a lot of weapons. My brother got into weapons. He did like a lot of bow and nunchuck stuff. But yeah,
we're learning all kinds of things. Soon we're gonna learn out he's got like a bat cave and he's fights crime at night.
Dude!
Oh, sorry.
Come on, we're on camera!
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm Batman. No, I do have a cave and I do fight crime at night. What you don't know is I'm the one wearing the tights. I have to be Robin. No, okay, this joke has gone long enough. So yeah, Darth Maul looks really cool. I think it's cool because this is a character that
It's a beautiful cover.
The cover looks great. Cullen Bunn is awesome, and like I like the idea of when a character gets too blown up in a fandom, like I want them to be written because it like I've always been a little annoyed by the Boba Fett fandom, and then I'm like he's just a costume. Like all he did is show up in one movie and was like, look at how impressive I am, and then basically failed to deliver Han Solo because somebody else did that, and then get eaten by the Sarlacc. Like that's Boba Fett, and people love him because his armor. I will admit, the Mandalorian armor looks fucking awesome.
I was gonna say I'm a huge fan of Boba Fett, but I think it's because of persona.
Right,
but
and so that's why I want to see more of him because I'm like, I think it's awesome. So let's utilize that great one.
I love all of them. I love Dengar. I love Bosk. I love IJD. I love all of them. So I'm like the worst person to ask. Forlom and Zuckuss. Like I even like the ones nobody likes. So.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. Well, I also play like the X-Wing miniatures game, so I wish we had like a Scum and Villainy comic that was just all these guys going on their adventures.
That'd be the perfect name for it too.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Scum and Villainy.
All right. Marvel, get Bronze's number.
10%. I want 10%.
Scum and Villainy. Why don't you just write it?
Next piece of news.
You get start at 10%.
The next piece of news.
Fine,
please.
I'll write it. This next piece of news is exciting for me and about 7 other people who like the Inhumans. The Inhumans are coming to TV, and like actually this time.
Really?
So, I feel like the tale of the Inhumans in the behind the scenes at Disney has been a roller coaster. In that, like, clearly they wanted to make the Inhumans represent the X-Men because they couldn't use the X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. Which I actually think is a fine idea. Like, you don't have the X-Men mutants are a huge part of building the Marvel Universe. It's such a big part of the social makeup of that world. So the Inhumans are a fine substitute. So, you know, they're thrown into the ABC show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but at the same time, when they announced Wave 3 or 4, whatever it is, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they said in 2020 there was going to be an Inhumans movie. So, like, that's awkward as far as timing goes. And then they pulled the Inhumans movie from the schedule after season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and told agents they're allowed to use the royal family of the Inhumans. But they had just finished their 1.5 year long Inhuman story and were moving on to Ghost Rider. So now Black Bolt and the family are just like in this weird limbo, and it seems like the plan now is for ABC to make their own separate The Inhumans TV show. And that's where we finally are with The Inhumans. What's weird is they're going to be debuting the first 2 episodes in IMAX theaters across the country.
Interesting.
Yeah, like you know, I mean, we've seen double episode premieres a lot on TV. You know, wait after the Super Bowl and watch 2 hours of Glee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But going to your IMAX theater,
yeah.
I'm gonna do it because I want to see Black Bolt in IMAX.
Right.
But like, I'm one of like.
Well, I could see a lot of comic book fans doing it, but I can't see your average person off the street who doesn't know what it is doing
Let alone a TV fan. Like, I understand, you know, the Marvel movies are a franchise, but this is not as much part of that franchise as it's part of the TV franchise, you know? Apparently some of the money is coming from IMAX itself. I don't even know how that's working. But yeah, it's a big thing. I feel like ABC, you know, they want more programming, right? They had Agent Carter for 2 seasons. They got canceled. They were making Marvel's Most Wanted with Mockingbird and her weird Guy Gardner boyfriend. And then that got, the pilot wasn't good enough for it to get picked up. And I feel like this is also the next shot at this. So it looks like, according to chat, is telling me that IMAX is funding the show, which does make a lot more sense.
Then. Yeah, it does.
That makes a lot more sense. I don't know why IMAX feels the need to fund an Inhumans show. I mean, I don't know why anybody keeps thinking that Inhumans is what's going to give us any sort of name recognition. Because, come on.
It has all the qualities you need for for something to catch on.
Oh, I mean, I agree. I love the Inhumans. I've read tons of Inhumans, but like, they're still the D-list version of the X-Men.
Yeah, they are.
And I always will. And they're not the X-Men. I always boast when people say that, but they are now. I agree, Ebert3, that seeing Zack as Lincoln the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. weirded me out every time, too. Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
There was an Inhuman character named Lincoln. He was this, like, lightning dude. He could shoot lightning. And he was in seasons 2 and 3. And the dude looked exactly like Zack.
Really?
It was uncanny how much those dudes look like each other. You know, sort of the same length of facial hair and the sandy-colored hair. And...
Well, crap. If Zack lookalike can make it on TV, then surely I should be able to.
Of course. Well, I mean, Rosario Dawson has managed to have a career.
I'll just start working out and be her action double.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Dr. Rosalind, ask her about stunt double stuff. How that works. So yeah, I'm excited about this because the Inhumans. I'm legitimately a surprise. I really hope this means I finally get the royal family of the Inhumans. Like actual Black Bolt and Gorgon and Karnak and Medusa. I think that with the Inhumans, you have a really good opportunity to diversify, and I hope they do. So this is one of them, Triton. He's a green fish dude. He's Karnak's brother. Now, you've seen Karnak. He's a normal dude.
Yeah.
So, and that was the thing, is when Triton got Terrigenicized into being a green fish dude, Karnak's parents were like, no Terrigenesis for you, Karnak. You can just study, because that shit's fucked up. Our son can't breathe anymore, so we're not going to do that to our other one. So, the fact that you would go into a Terrigenesis chamber and come out as a green fish man means that there should be absolutely no rules as far as appearance goes, right?
Yeah.
They were all white dudes because they were created in the 60s by Stan and Jack, and that's how that happened. But, I want to see Terry Crews as Gorgon the Goat. Gorgon is this big dude that stomps and can create earthquakes. To me, Terry Crews is the most perfect actor to play that role. There's not going to find a white guy
Terry
that's better.
Crews is awesome.
He's also so awesome.
He's so amazing.
I think there's a lot of potential here, and I hope that they utilize it.
We can hope.
We can hope. And I'll be there with 3 other people in IMAX watching it. More exciting, objectively, TV news now is that Y the Last Man, which there's been news about Y the Last Man being on TV for
It's been off and on for longer than 2 years.
Years. There's been here's what's going on. This, that. Thank you For the bits, I'm sorry. I did leave out the most important one, Lockjaw, who is a dog, and it doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's hanging out with Kamala Khan now, so.
Not anymore. Is he still?
Off and on.
He's just everywhere.
For a while, he was her like guardian.
Yeah, I know that he was there to like watch out for her.
Which
for a
is really
while.
cute. Like, oh, you're an Inhuman now. We'll look out for you. Here's a dog. Like, of course, that's what you do for a kid.
I mean, granted, Lockjaw raised Crystal and Quicksilver's son more than either Crystal or Quicksilver did, or daughter, excuse me. Medusa and Black Bolt have a son, and fucking nobody raised that kid. That kid just grew up on its own. Seriously, the kid was born in a miniseries in '88 and then showed up like 2 years ago as like a teenager, like I exist still, by the way. Kang raised me. That happened. Anyway, I could go off of the Inhumans longer. Basically what you need to know is that Lockjaw doesn't make any fucking sense. But Why the Last Man is a fantastic series by Brian K. Vaughan, in which in the first issue a plague strikes Earth and all but one man die. All the men on Earth die. Except for this dude and his monkey, and so...
Yeah, anything with a Y chromosome.
Yeah. Yeah, all male animals.
And which is why his monkey, that's a weird anomaly too.
Yeah.
Because him and his monkey Ampersand are the only two that are not affected by this.
Yeah.
They did like that weird movie back in the day, like Children of Men or something.
Yeah.
That had like the same sort of concept, kind of. But it wasn't this. Yeah. This is way better.
Yeah, so this is awesome. Apparently...
I think they're doing a series right now called Last Man on Earth. I haven't actually checked it out, but I think Zach was saying it has a lot in common with this.
I thought that was more of an alien series. I haven't really seen it, but I think that was more of like
I have no idea.
Straight up apocalypse than.
Somebody was telling me it bears some resemblance to this, but this is I'm excited.
Yeah. So apparently the showrunner for American Gods, which is Neil Gaiman book that's being adapted right now. Michael Green has been attached to Why the Last Man, which is good because that means that the American Gods, if it makes money, which it will based on its name already, and they're putting together a great cast. It looks like it's going to be very good. That will really help this actually finally get made. Which would finally be nice. And Why the Last Man, it has to be a series. It can't be a movie.
No.
There's just too much in it. It's not. And it's one of those things like Harry Potter, where it's not like when we adapt Batman, like every Batman movie is an adaptation of the Batman mythos, right? Kind of like any new Batman book. Whereas this should be something more like Harry Potter, where there's one story, there's a series you adapt. That's what Why the Last Man is. It's one story, 1 to 60, there's no other version. So that's why you can't just do a movie and half-ass it, because they couldn't do a movie where you start out with the plague and then also show like the end where you learn everything. You couldn't do that in one film. That would just feel like a cheap imitation. Be like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, where like it had the name but none of the plot.
Thanks for the bit.
Thank you for the bits.
So Last Man is about the end of the human race. Yeah.
You could say that.
Anarchy reigns.
Dude, those were her comics.
Oh shit.
I bought those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Her pulse.
I was just like the Sinless.
I'm like so triggered right now.
I'm gonna put that back. Is there anything I can get you? I'm sorry.
Emily, keep him out of here.
The Sinless are winning though.
Get back.
Who's winning? What did he just say?
I was busy resisting the urge to hit him in the face for touching my comic book.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I kind of forgive.
None of these comics are actually mine.
They weren't
at the
even
table,
bagged and
so
boarded
you know.
yet. They weren't bagged and boarded yet.
They're okay. It's not like when Zach just ripped your Black Monday burgers in half.
I just need to put my head between my knees for a moment.
I'll
be alright.
It was a difficult experience for all of us, I'm sure.
Who does that?
I mean, to be fair, me.
Our book
not
readers,
long ago.
heathens. But you know what, Scott? You know why what you did was okay?
Because it was a book.
Used books have no value.
That's true.
These you can sell in 10 years. A book is gonna be at half-price books for $3. I
also intended to throw it flat on the ground, threw it harder than I meant to, and it hit the wall, and I felt bad.
It's okay. I kind of forgive you, Ryan. Kind of, not really. Probably.
Yeah. Why aren't your comics bagged and
Because
boarded?
I just got them.
This is also why you should bag and board. I don't mean to victim blame, but keep your
Don't
your
victim
comics
blame
bagged
me.
and boarded.
Don't victim blame
but
me.
also don't throw shit.
Yeah,
I did.
Especially not valuable shit.
Renner76 is right. I did start it.
You
So
did
for
start.
that, I apologize.
Go to Scott's house and throw his comic.
There you go.
God.
Scott, I hope you learned a very valuable lesson today about personal property and treating your friends with respect.
Yeah, apparently I shouldn't fuck with Rai because it'll ruin somebody else's comics.
I feel like when Emily has those conversations with us, she needs to be like legally obligated to wear the dolphin on her hand and be like, give us like human resources advice. But you know, like, because you came in, you're like, you need to learn respect, and I'm like, you need a dolphin like on your hand.
Is she going to get a dolphin?
Does she have a dolphin?
Oh no, it's better.
What?
Better than a dolphin?
Oh god.
Okay, guys. We're gonna talk about respecting each other and personal property and being kind. Thumpers are a kind crew. We're nice to each other. We don't throw each other's things. Okay?
It is taking
Get out of here, Ryan.
literally all of my willpower not to grab one of those and throw it. It's all.
Why would you do that?
Money.
Stop yelling at me. Books have feelings too.
Books don't have feelings.
Okay.
Books have messages though.
God damn it. God damn it.
Now you just think about what you did.
Okay. So, you know how AJ has been wanting Vanquish to have a group therapy episode?
Yeah.
I think that should be the episode Emily guest stars.
Yeah.
On Vanquish.
I think you should be our therapist. I want to be the therapist. I'll pull out the buddies.
You gotta get the buddies, yeah.
Okay, this is Ms. Eves. Talk to Ms. Eves like you're talking to me.
Oh, so good. Thank you, Emily. That's Emily, if you guys don't know, which you should. She's our awesome community manager here at RPG, as well as just like...
As well as just a riot.
Yeah. I mean, community manager, it seems like that means she takes care of you guys. She takes care of us, too.
Yeah,
Like,
or
we're a
as her
community
dad
here.
would say, she's a force of nature.
Yeah. We'd just be a wreck over here. We'd be throwing each other's things all the time if she didn't tell
Yeah,
us
we
not to.
would. Basically, yeah.
Right, so, Why the Last Man may finally happen.
May.
I'm
I'm getting my hopes up. The reason I'm not getting my hopes up is it's been on and off for so long.
Although the last news was that David Goyer was going to write a movie about it, and so I'm so glad that's not happening. So I'm just at least relieved that, because I don't...
5 months in a row, and you resubscribe with your Twitch Prime.
Yeah.
You get a gold star.
Welcome.
Because you remember.
All right, I think that's all the news. Oh, well, there's this one thing. Do you want to do this? Should we do this?
Oh, let's do it. That'll be fun.
This will be fun. So,
Florp.
our lovely mods who give us the news every day sent us this list on CBR, the 15 most useless superheroes. Super lame, it's called. And you know, this is your basic listicle. That means it's just somebody threw it together. We're probably going to disagree with some of it, but they're also
like an
really
official
fun.
List. Yeah.
So I'm probably going to disagree with like half of these because I love shitty characters.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
So let's get going according to, let's see if they say where these came from. Doesn't look like anybody voted. It
I think
looks
it's just
like
probably the writers.
yeah,
did
it's
it.
somebody, Lauren McEwen of CBR, who just came up with this list. So number 1 they say is Jubilee, or number 15. We start at 15. We'll get to number 1. We start out with Jubilee, which I'm surprised to see anybody who at least has kind of a basic offensive attack being on this list at all.
Yeah, because there's a lot more that are more useless than her. Plus, I don't know if they're going with what's current, but she's like a vampire now, so she can actually lay the smack down. And I've seen her do some pretty cool things with her power.
Looks like the argument they're making is mostly that
Thanks for the follow, Tarshan.
that she is powerful, but doesn't ever get the role of being powerful. Like she was his Wolverine sidekick and forgotten after the 90s. I don't know if I grant that premise.
No, definitely not forgotten. She's still around,
yeah.
and she's doing cool stuff. So.
Yeah, and again, she's a vampire now and a mother.
Yeah, I like that whole story arc with her being a mom. It was cool. It was cool. Plus, it also showed like all the different kinds of like I'm gonna speak on this really quickly. When they did the all-female team of the X-Men, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and it had Jubilee with this kid, and the kid was baby. One thing I really liked was that not all the women in the comic were instantly like, oh, baby. You had some people that were like, no, you take care of that thing. And you had some people that did have the, ooh, baby response. And I love that. I love that. Because as somebody who I don't really connect with babies. Like if I see a baby, I never want to hold it. Toddlers, different story. Toddlers are cute, but like I don't like babies. They're like little blobs of like crying, drooling, grossness. And I just love how they showed that dichotomy. It was really cool.
Yeah,
and not like every woman is like gonna immediately rush to mother. And it was awesome.
Right. Yeah,
It
and I think
really
that was
good
by
writing.
Willow Wilson, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that like I think that's a big part of the value of all female teams is that in comics we get so used to like you are the girl and so you fill the girl role.
Yeah.
And also you fill every role every woman should fill, and that like it's a shame that we have to do this, but at the very least all female teams force writers to be like, you can't do that. You have to do this, you know? And Willow Wilson knows better than to do that in the first place. But yeah, like that's part of the thing is that like
And
look
you
at
see
that.
it happen in like
Fully
anime
diverse
a
team.
lot. For me, it was Sword Art Online and a couple others where you'll have like a young character, like a carefree character, and she's put in a role where she has to take care of something, and she immediately assumes like this mother role. It's always bothered me because I'm like, why do you guys have to play it that way every time? And some people are like, oh, well, that's what women are naturally more nurturing. I'm like, not all women, bro. Like, calm down. So it was really cool seeing a team of badass, you know, mutants, and some of them were like baby, and some of them were like, what are we gonna do with that thing?
Right.
It was great.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So Jubilee's cool. The next one is Mr. Immortal, the leader and founder of the Great Lakes Avengers. Everybody knows how great the Great Lakes Avengers are.
Oh, we were just joking about them. When they were doing the covers for every state.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great Lakes Avengers. Thing. So yeah, apparently basically he's just like he's a solid meat shield, but not much else. Yeah, somebody should teach him how to fight. This is a get rid of that image. Let's do that. I closed the wrong thing. Number 13 that's not gonna be Mr. Fantastic. It's gonna be that shadow dude there, Doorman.
What does he do? I don't even know who this is.
Doorman is a guy who could use his body to make a door. Another member of the Great Lakes Avengers. He's a mutant and he can just, you know, uses the Dark Force dimension, which is what, you know, Cloak uses and Darkstar and that kind of thing, to make doors. Thing is, he can only teleport stuff into the next room. So, like, you know, Cloak is like the teleporter of the Avengers a lot. He gathers everybody, takes it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this just helps Mr. Fantastic go to the next room to grab a book, I guess. No, yeah, there's one I have no objections to only being able to go through a wall being on the list. Like, you're literally as useful as Kitty Pryde, but like
not as useful as
only in one context.
Yeah.
You know?
That's weird. That's a weird one.
Okay, now this one, I can't believe they chose this image just because this is the death of Doug Ramsey, and this picture is so fucking sad. Anyway, Cypher. Cypher is one of the new mutants. His ability is that he can understand and decipher any language. And yeah, that's kind of a thing, especially like for a long time, that like they don't let him train in the Danger Room because it's not a combatant ability. It's just translation. And so because of that, he is like less trained than the rest of the New Mutants. And like this panels we're looking at, he says, "Don't be mad, Rain." Rain is Rain Sinclair, Wolfsbane, one of the mutants. "I'll never do it again." Because basically he like was in danger and she yelled at him like, "Get out of there!" And then like, you know, tried to save him and he died. So he basically dies apologizing for dying. It's super fucking tragic. Cypher's like the nicest kid. He's so sweet. I love this guy. But yeah, his skill set. There are some people who have used his skill set to really like show that it can be powerful. Like it can be really useful. And he learned like somebody did a thing where it's like he can decipher the language of movement, so he can become a martial artist. I think that's kind of cheap. But like,
yeah,
he's awesome.
That's like a fake language.
Yeah. Like it's neat. I love the idea that like Cassandra Cain speaks the language of movement because she's like that's.
You
her
could
thing.
almost say like he'd be really good at math and science.
Yeah, and you know that's part of it is that he can communicate with Warlock, their Technarch alien friend, and then he and Warlock like fuse together to become like a super suit, and that's cool. Number 11, more mutants. Dazzler.
I agree with this one wholeheartedly.
I don't know, like she uses her ability combatively pretty well. Like she essentially has pew pew powers, kind of like Jubilee.
Yeah. I think like Jubilee is cooler now, and Dazzler's in the current run of A-Force, and oh my god, she does not fit in with a powerhouse of freaking Medusa and She-Hulk and
Dazzler's double one of those characters
she does
that
not
like
fit.
I think a lot of people struggle to figure out where she fits. You know, like she was part of the X-Men in like the 80s when the X-Men were like unsure what they were, and like the late 80s when they were in Australia. But she's not. She's tough because she's had like this long run of story development, but at the same time like hasn't developed into much. And turning sound into light is cool, but she's always stuck with the Dazzler or with the disco parallel.
Right now she's a rock star.
That's cool.
Not really. She's just like angry and edgy all the time, and it's like it's a little cringe.
I mean that also checks out. She's been angrier and edgy since she got like fired in the 80s. That's her thing.
Yeah.
She's just always bitchy. Jin Genie, aka Becca Parker, was a member of Ecstatics, a group of mutant superheroes who were more preoccupied with becoming rich and famous than doing anything altruistic. Jin Genie's thing is that she was capable of seismokinesis, or the power to generate seismic vibrations. The only problem is that she could only use her power when she's super drunk. Why?
Who wrote that?
What?
Maybe it was funny.
Yeah, and there's some said, but there are things on this list, I skimmed the list, that are supposed to be jokes.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy. I had no idea that was a thing.
But yeah, I mean, there you go. Drunk superpower, it's earthquakes.
Can you imagine if you had like a really useful superpower, but it only worked when you were drunk? That would be like a real punishment.
Yeah. That's kind of Six Pack's thing, except for Six Pack's thing is more that he's just always drunk, and thus that's why his world is.
Yeah. Who is this person? Holy
This
crap.
is okay. So this is the first of this list from a team called the Legion of Substitute Heroes. And so the whole point of this team, they were written to suck. In that the Legion of Superheroes is the superhero team in the 30th and 31st century in DC Comics. Superboy traveled to the future and hung out with them when he was a kid. So there are a handful of dudes that showed up, tried to get onto the Legion of Superheroes, and they were not allowed to join because they suck. And so they decided to form their own Legion of Substitute Heroes, and the Legion is preoccupied. They showed up. So Color Boy is a sub. He can change the color of things, and that's
that seems like if it was from a show that was meant to
Well, he's from the comics first, but it was the idea is that he sucks, right?
Yeah.
Is that he seems like he have power, but he sucks. There is an excellent episode of the Legion of Superheroes animated cartoon about the subs, and they're fantastic. I don't even know. So Color Kid changes the colors of things. That's all.
Oh my god, what is this?
This is NFL Super Pro. Swear
Is
to
he
God.
really good at football?
He is a Marvel Comics creator. Apparently, Marvel partnered up with the NFL to make NFL Super Pro. Oh, look at that. Great. His name is Phil Grayfield. He just so happens to interview an oddball chemist and sports fan who just so happens to have invented a practically indestructible football uniform. And then, for some reason, thieves come in, and so he takes the thing and he becomes a superhero. So it's just a superhero with a... It's like Guardian, but wearing an NFL uniform instead of, like, armor, I guess? So it looks like some of the chat is familiar with NFL Super Pro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does he have fans in the chat?
He has people who remember him at the very least.
Pun loving. Oh, right when you write pun loving, I hate puns, see? So that immediately makes me feel like, oh, he just must be the worst.
That would be a good pun.
Really? Why?
Why? I don't know. I like Shakespeare. Puns are fun. I like wordplay.
Oh my god, what is this?
This is Almighty Dollar. He was a member of NFL Super Pro's team of unimpressive superheroes. His power is that he could make loose change shoot out of his wrists. Like Spider-Man, but with coins.
I feel like that could maybe be useful, because you could, like, if you got like a jet stream of quarters to the face, that shit would hurt.
No, yeah, I mean, it is that he basically can just shoot metal, which is pretty good. And that's a good point, Green Eye Trombonist. He fucking makes money.
Yeah.
Like dude, you just hang out outside the corn star.
Yeah.
Give me that bitch. Yeah. Look
I
at that. All of a sudden, we're like,
I was literally sitting here
Almighty
thinking
dollar.
of him like having those little paper tubes and filling them and like rolling them
Oh
up.
man,
and
Almighty
dropping them
Dollar's
off
not
at
time
the
for that.
bank.
He's got criminals to fight. He's got to.
You're right. You're right.
You're right. His name, J. Pennington Pennypacker.
So wait, so he shoots pennies.
Maybe, I guess.
That's a lot less useful.
That is less useful.
I was thinking like more of like assorted change. Pennies, you know how long it would take you outside the coin store to get money?
Long ass time.
It costs more money to make a penny than it does to, like, than the penny's worth.
Yeah. But see, that's where Almighty Dollar comes in. He gets to make them for free. He could save the penny problem.
He's saving the American economy.
One penny at a
He's
time.
a real hero. He's the hero we
Um,
need and the hero we deserve.
So while we're talking about NFL Super Pro and his crime-fighting unit, the Happy Campers, I'm learning so much about these guys, and I am so excited about this. I love shitty comic book things.
Happy Campers. I need
The
to
Happy
check
Campers. Apparently, the other characters is a guy named Girth, who uses his super strong stomach to fight crime.
Oh, his stomach.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it's probably covered
That's
by a
me-
shirt, so we can assume it's his stomach.
That's what I immediately
Girth.
assumed, yeah.
A guy with super speed named Streak, and a Korean statistics genius nicknamed Calculator. So literally, they have an Asian kid that can do math. Okay, that's a thing. Happy Campers, led by NFL Super Pro. You know, it almost feels like a football douchebag's posse, right? Like I've got my big dude, my muscle Girth here. I've got Streak, that's my drug dealer, and then I've got like Calculator there. He's the one I'm like racist to, but I make him do my homework. Right? It sounds like a bully's entourage to me. The Happy Campers. Okay. Oh, another one of the Legion of Substitute Superheroes, Stone Boy! So you might think that Stone Boy is kind of like Colossus or something like that, where he
Yeah.
can turn to stone.
Yeah. You'd be like
Close,
indestructible.
except when he turns to stone, he can't move. So he just becomes a stone statue.
This is blowing my mind.
He's just stone. It's just great. Like all the Legion of Super Substitute heroes spring into action, and he's just like, "Here I go!" Shump, and just becomes a rock. And it just kind of stands there for a while.
Oh my
Stone
God.
Boy!
Oh my fucking God, please no, God.
This one is from the New Warriors, Marvel's New Warriors, who is Carlton Lefroy's Hindsight Lad. Look at that HL logo.
I like his little like
It's got rear
side
view
view mirrors. Yeah.
Oh man, so is this thing that he can see the past? He doesn't have superpowers. He came up with the idea of helping the New Warriors by being able to point out any tactical errors they made during the battle after the fight was over. So his thing
Hindsight is
is that
20/20.
he was gonna watch superheroes fight and then tell them what they did wrong afterwards. He's fucking YouTube comments in a superhero.
Oh my God, that
That's who
doesn't
he
sound
is.
like the most useless superhero. That sounds like the most annoying superhero.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it's kind of what Xavier's power has been for 50 years, but, you know, he also does the whole thing where he invades people's minds.
I know some people that I feel like they should cosplay that. You know,
Hindsight
like the people that are just like, oh, in that situation I would, and you just sit there staring at them talk, like, yeah, keep talking, fuckface. I know a lot of people that I would forcibly wrestle into that costume.
Apparently he's like chat on Vanquished.
God damn it!
I'm not surprised by that. He's probably our inner monologue on Vanquished going, man, if I weren't me, I would be doing all these other things differently. Oh, man. Hindsight Lad. Okay, Bouncing Boy. Bouncing Boy is one of the main characters in the Legion of Superheroes, not the substitute superheroes. This dude is a legit superhero. I actually like him because he is one of the very few overweight superheroes. It is very rare that happens. But his thing is that he can bounce and inflate.
But his like, is he really overweight when he inflates?
Well, when he's deflated, he's still a big dude.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not always like a perfect sphere.
I thought he was always a perfect sphere. I'm like, I don't think that counts as. But no, if he deflates, then yeah, sure.
And yeah, he's a really like big part of. In fact, he was the leader of the Legion of Superheroes for a long time.
I would follow him into battle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't really like talk about it that much, but there's kind of a thing that when he's bouncing around, he's kind of invincible.
Oh.
Like he bounces into stuff and it gets crashed, but he's like, oh, I'm fine.
So he shouldn't be on this
I'm
list.
surprised he's on this list at all, let alone number 3.
Yeah, because I feel like he'd be pretty useful.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing with that tissue though. Right, like a man. I don't know why he has 2 pieces of paper stuck together, but we can only assume. And yeah, he was awesome in the Legion of Superheroes cartoon. He was great. The person who voices him is awesome. Oh man, see, this is just becoming a Legion list. Another Legionnaire. This one, once again, not the substitutes. Straight up normal Legionnaire. Matter Eater Lad. His thing is that he can eat matter. It's basically...
So you can just eat anything.
Anything. Matter Eater Lad.
That might be useful too. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, we've been trapped in this cage. Don't worry, I can eat it.
Yeah, he can eat his way out of anything.
You know, like...
I mean, it needs to be able to fit in his mouth. But short of that, I'm surprised he's on this list too, because that's pretty...
That's kind of cool.
Pretty
Well,
valuable.
it also says he can analyze matter's contents, determine if it contains poisons, and then he can metabolize his food quickly in order to obtain super speed. Okay, no.
Look at that, Matter Eater Lad.
You know, I don't know. Like, yeah, he's kind of silly
yeah,
and
he was
gimmicky, but that just seems like...
Yeah. This is just emblematic of the whole Legion of Superheroes thing, where it's just fucking ridiculous,
That's kinda cool.
and we just learn to like it.
You know, yeah, you don't have to like it, but you can't call the poor man useless.
All right, there's 2 more. There's 2 more to go now. Rainbow Girl, who...
What is with all the useless people, their shtick being colors and lights?
This is weird though, because it basically seems like she is another version of Color Kid, just a girl. Oh, here we go. And that she is a Legionnaire who was cut and joined the Legion of Substitute Superheroes and can change people's... Oh, she has the ability to make herself irresistible to people around her by emanating a field of light that basically looks like a rainbow. So she has like rainbow pheromones, I guess? I don't know. But I mean, that actually seems that's half of
Ecstasy
Poison
Girl. I
There
like
we
that.
go.
I
There
like
we
that.
go. That is half of Poison Ivy's power set, basically.
Yeah, except Poison Ivy's like cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's okay. I'm not as big a fan of Poison Ivy as
like
the whole
her.
Bat mythos is.
I like it.
But yeah.
I like all my birds of prey.
Yeah, I also don't like. I know she was a bird. I don't recognize her as one of the birds of prey.
No, she was totally a bird.
Oh yeah, she was on the birds of prey, but she's like, she was doing it for her own reasons. She's a
And so is Helena Bertinelli, but I accept Helena as a bird.
That's always Helena's thing.
I'm gonna accept her. You know what, Ivy? You're welcome on.
And actually, I will say, outside of Batman comics, which isn't common, but on things like Birds of Prey in her solo series, I like Poison Ivy.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I just like, she's just always the same thing villain-wise to me, and also
a bioterrorist or
no,
environmental
not a
terrorist?
bioterrorist. Somebody who pretends to be a bioterrorist, but really is just a seductress and a failing.
Oh,
one. Like
see,
that's all. That's so.
See, I
frequently
just
what
chalk that
see
up
of
to
her.
bad writing.
Well, yeah,
see, I see her
that's
taking
true.
out like I see her holding the head people at like the oil drilling companies hostage in their boardroom.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
Ivy
and that's
I
a good
see.
point. There are Poison Ivies I've read that I love,
But she's
like
super awesome.
is it Marjorie Liu who did the solo series?
I do not remember.
I don't know. And then Gail Simone wrote her a Bad Girl. And she was
Yeah.
great. So there is some Poison Ivy that I really love. I just I agree that like it's more miss than hit for me with her because she's more frequently the one that makes Batman's crotch tickle. Like that's what she does.
I feel like
instead of
Catwoman does
being,
that
like-
more.
Oh, Catwoman does that more, but it makes more like Catwoman's in love with Batman. That's part of her thing is that they are in love with each other. Whereas I like a Poison Ivy that is indifferent. Like she will manipulate men, but she doesn't care. Like I don't want one that likes that men look at her. I want one that doesn't give a fuck because they're not plants. Unless you're a plant, you are a means to an end. That's the Ivy I like, and that does exist. You're right. So I shouldn't shit on Ivy. Just I want people to write her better.
But, like even in the video games, the Arkham video games, I feel like Ivy was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Ivy's great in the Arkham games, and also because Ivy in the Arkham games hangs out with like Harley, and not Batman as much, and I love Ivy and Harley together. Okay, the last one, and somebody.
But first, an interruption. HR would like to say thank you to Neonet for sponsoring this episode. Tomorrow runs on Neonet. Bye.
What? Neonet sponsored this episode.
Cool.
Oh snap! Thanks, Neonet.
Does that mean we owe them some shit now?
I don't know.
Is this? I mean, I guess we did just do some propaganda, so there you go.
There you go.
Tomorrow runs on Neonet.
Join Neonet.
Okay, so.
Join the future. I should not do that gesture. I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to do a robot thing, like salute, and then it became very creepy very soon.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Not a lot of room for salute gestures. Like, it's very limited.
I didn't even think about it.
Okay. So, some people in chat totally called this arm fall off boy. He can detach his arm and hit people with it. And he's not even like a sub. He's not like one of the substitute superheroes. He wasn't made to suck. He was just made so
That
early
looks
that.
disgusting.
Yeah, it really does, man.
It looks like an anus.
Oh, those bits mean that this episode brought to you by the Sinless.
Oh, Sinless.
Sounds like war were declared.
Sinless is coming for you, Neonet. What are you gonna do
Man,
about
yeah,
it?
what's gonna happen now? So yeah, arm fall off boy.
His little socket looks like an asshole. Looks like an anus.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
it
disgusting.
really does.
And then it has like the plorp, and I'm like, ah!
Plorp.
I don't want to see your fucking arm sphincter,
Observe
dude.
as I detach my limb and transform it into a deadly weapon.
No, that's not a deadly weapon. That's still just
That's
your
just your
fucking
fucking
limb.
arm.
Oh my god.
I mean, theoretically, your shoulder would be pretty hard. You should like really club somebody with it, but it's just a club.
Back to Neonet! Neonet, thank you!
Yeah, no, it's yeah. That fucking sphincter thing is just like, making me fucking. Ah.
So just puts it back on hashtag arm sphincter. So yeah, those are, according to CBR, the 15 most useless superheroes. Some of these names I was really surprised by, namely some of the Legionnaires that were on there. And
I think they should have gotten more creative.
Yeah.
Whoa, Shiawase is coming. Shiawase is like, they're
oh man,
they're coming for ya.
Holy
Swiggity swooty.
shit!
That's it.
Shiawase is sponsoring this show now, y'all.
So thank you, Shiwase.
Go Shiawase. Shiawase, the future of tech and gaming and comics.
Good ad lib. Should write copy for Shiwase.
Like so fucking
All right.
so cringe sometimes.
So we made it through the news.
I need a cringe emote on my channel. I need
A cringe emote.
I need my own haha.
I think Twitch in general would benefit from a cringe
We
emote.
have one, haha. Feel free every time I do something like that to spam your ha-has in the
There
chat.
you go.
That's
So that's all the news. Lots of good news today. That was a fun list. We might do more listicles like that because that was fun. We got to do a quick recap of Vanquished. We started Volume 4 on Monday. We are back in the present. No more timey-wimey, no more parallel dimension, just you know, somewhere in Europe. I don't even remember. The PK, Greece. We're in Greece.
Yes.
We're in Greece. I think we're in Athens. We're at the PK Theater. And so much of this episode on Monday was combat. Mm-hmm. In that we started out, we were at a party.
Brought the hammer down.
And Glitch almost started a fight, trying to get a mask. In fact, actually,
My plan was pretty good. I just rolled really
It
poorly.
also worked out really well, though. Like,
really
you
did.
did start a fight between two other people and
Yeah.
walked away with a mask.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty impressive, whereas, like, then when the rest of the people got involved, you know, everybody noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And we tore literally the wall off, and everybody evacuated. So, we managed to accidentally, successfully evacuate the PK Theater, because we knew that the earthquake was coming. Mostly just because we were trying to get...
I thought Zach was gonna screw us, and I thought people were gonna get trampled.
Me too. I'm impressed.
I
that
didn't.
people actually
well,
got
like the rolls that I need to roll high on, I roll fucking shit on, and then like my EMP, I rolled like what 19 something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
you're like over.
And I took out the power in the whole building, and it fucking sucked. And I was like, great, now we're in pitch black trying to fucking deal with this shit. Libby had some quick thinking. She portaled out a portion of the wall, so we had a little bit of
Yeah,
natural light.
got some people to
People
leave.
had a direction to go in.
And what's funny is all that happened because we were trying to fix Eves' foot. That was it. We hadn't even begun trying to deal with any of our problems. We were just trying to get a damn cast for Eves, and then we just started the conflict. But everybody evacuated except for 20 dudes from the 1% who were like, what the fuck are you doing? And granted, we kind of had a chance to like talk to them, and then Geist Cross put a hole into one of them, and fighting had to begin. And most of the episode was then fighting. Geist and Livy went downstairs, saved a bunch of women who were in cages, and stopped the earthquake while the rest of us fought and sort of mostly didn't kill the 1%. And got out okay. The news talked to us, so we were a little public. And then we were abducted by Neville of MI6 and given our new mission, which is
super awesome.
Yes.
It's take out Mr. Lancaster. Is that his name? Yes.
Yes, Austin Lancaster.
Austin Lancaster, and who is like the leader of the 1%. And our job is to take him out. But we're doing it for our own reasons mostly. Most of the group agrees that we're doing it to get Erida's grandfather back.
Yeah.
Because he is in their custody. He's in the 1%'s custody. They've purchased him. We don't exactly know what purchase means. If he's a prisoner, if he's working for them, if he's being forced to work for them, Iron Man style. We don't really know what's going on.
We also know that he has some partners. We learned in the prologue.
Yes, we know he's working with DTD Merrick and with
Dr. Silk.
Dr. Silk. I was going to say Frost for some reason, but it's Silk. So we killed Frost.
Yeah, we killed a lot of people.
Or Winters. Her name was Winters. I'm like, it's all over the place. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I feel like I'm excited because I'm in my element. This kind of covert work is what Glitch does.
Yeah. And that's,
so I'm excited.
And Glitch, you know, it was kind of Livy who accidentally appointed her at the top, but Glitch is going to be the leader of the crew when we get in there, which, thank God.
Yeah, no. The reason, like,
God
a lot of people were like, why wouldn't Glitch be the leader? I'm like, well, she's never stepped up and done that.
Yeah.
And the reason is she doesn't want to take responsibility for everybody.
Right, and that it's not, she's
out
not
of
the
character,
person.
It makes sense. Like, from like, for Bronze, I'm like, oh yeah, Glitch should be because she has the most field experience and she can do this. But when I'm in character, my character's like, I don't want to be responsible because she doesn't, between us, she doesn't want to be responsible if something happens to anyone. And she feels like if you're the leader, that's your job. She's really good at taking orders, though. A lot of people have that misconception, but I don't know if you guys noticed. In most episodes, Glitch is just kind of like, she goes with it. She backs off. She doesn't get in that many pissing
Especially she's getting more comfortable with the team.
Yeah,
and, you know,
she
and
might
also
not always
like,
agree, but she'll back off.
And I think part of why it's more surprising that it seems that Glitch is the leader is that, you know, she's still the newest one. And I think she's like, the team still in general might look to Cross or Livy like first as the person they trust to be in charge, and we're still building the trust with Glitch. I think that we have a great opportunity to solidify that now with Glitch in charge, which is going to be awesome. We saw Neville. I am really excited because we now have the opportunity to meet Unity. And when Zach was like, if you don't comply, Unity will escort you to America. Out of character, I wanted to be like, what if I just was like, fuck you, I want to meet Unity. Like, I will struggle until Exo Manowar shows up. But speaking of which, we got
Alara would have a freaking field day.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is
that
questions, I think.
Alara might meet his space Jesus, and it's been a while since that happened.
I don't even know what's gonna happen when that goes down.
Yeah. I would keep waiting if you're waiting for Nebraska to be the leader. So one of the things, part of why Nebraska so desperately needs to know who the leader is it's part of the tragic reality of him is that for somebody who is so intent on his freedom, he will not be chained. You know, he freaked out when he was in handcuffs. He doesn't know how to be autonomous. He's never, like, the only decision he's ever made for himself is, I'm going to plant these potatoes. You know, other than that, he's always followed somebody, had somebody leading him. He doesn't really know how to just be. And now he's really reliant on his new valiant family to lead him somewhere, to kind of show him what he's going to do, because that's now what he sees is his role, is be with these people and protect these people.
You trust these people.
Yeah.
And Rob, you're right. Glitch is a solo operative. There's a very specific reason why, in character, I have never stepped up and said, you guys should follow me. Yeah. Livy, in my opinion, has always been the leader. And when Livy looked at me and said, take it, even then I hesitated. But everybody else seems to be on board. So I think it'll work out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
It's not a position that Glitch wants to be put into, but I think it's one that, like, out of character, it makes sense. Like, she's the only person that has done this type of stuff before, and I think everybody else could learn a thing or two.
Right.
And how to get things done. Especially, like, I think Aerith already kind of has. It's kind of cool because she's like much more willing to make like hard decisions to save her team, and I think her grandfather being taken from her like really lit that fire under her ass, and it's awesome to see that where she's like, sometimes people get hurt, sometimes, you know, like she picked up a freaking shotgun.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't have to kill people, I can maim them. And this is the same chick who freaked out when I took a gun to somebody's kneecaps.
Yeah.
You know, but she's starting like her character, and she's not as evil, quote unquote, as like she's not as ruthless. That's the right word. She's not as ruthless as my character is, but she's starting to understand that like sometimes to protect the people that you love, you have to make really tough decisions.
Right, yeah, like you can't necessarily always play by Batman's rules because you're not, you know, live in this fantasy world where Batman gets to win every time, you know? Like you're, and I like that. Like the one time that we've seen Aerith really go apeshit was when she melted the dude's face off.
Yeah.
And that was early, she couldn't control her powers, but it was also a really emotional moment for her.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the context, but she was raging hard.
Yeah.
And that like,
and
yeah.
we saw
like,
her do it again at the hospital when she thought she didn't know where I was. She thought they had taken me, and
but she stormed the fuck out.
Yeah, we saw her freak out because in her brain it's like, you know, these people are gonna kill my friend. She wasn't happy about it. So.
It was a good episode. I'm really excited for this volume. For the past few volumes, we've known sort of where it's going to go. With the time travel stuff, we all sort of were, you know, playing it a little safe. We didn't want to divert too much because we didn't want to have to deal with, you know, a giant time hole or something.
Yeah.
We, as the players, in this volume, know less than we have for, like, the whole show, you know? Like, there's not as much backstory that we need to give exposition for, so we don't, like, have all this prior information.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot more, I guess, random? I don't know. It's gonna be more authentic going forward.
Well, it was always authentic.
It was always authentic, you're right.
But it's gonna be more like we aren't as constricted.
Yeah.
Because like in the past, when we were in the past, there's certain things we just couldn't do.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna fuck with everything. We had to make sure like we didn't kill the past versions of ourselves. Certain things had to happen because it is written. That was the name of the volume, right? And now it's like we can do anything.
Yeah. Like when they fell into the dead side at the end of volume 1. That wasn't planned, right?
No.
That was just
but we could do things like that.
And so now we could do that again, right? We might accidentally go somewhere here or there. Like, you guys don't know what Libby's new power is, and that's because it didn't show up. Because we weren't like, all right, it's gonna show up here at this point. It'll happen if it happens. So it's gonna be a fun volume.
It's gonna happen. I'm excited.
All right.
It's gonna be great.
Talk about today's comics.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm so pissed that I got the wrong Reborn.
That you got the Throne?
I got the wrong Reborn.
Oh yeah.
This cover is beautiful. I mean.
Yes. Okay, so
got the wrong issue of it. I got issue 1 put in my box instead of issue 2, so I didn't get to read this. Is that your pick of the week?
It is.
Okay.
So yeah, my pick of the week was Reborn #2. There were I struggled a lot to figure out what I wanted to make my pick because there wasn't actually one thing that really like leapt out and was like, this is your book for this week. I kind of had like 3 or 4 that like I really enjoyed that I wanted to talk about, and one of them was your pick of the week, so that helped.
Okay.
I didn't have to pick that. But Reborn #2, when I read the first issue of Reborn, I thought it was neat, but I was like, I'll keep doing it because these creators. I like Mark Miller. I sometimes like Mark Miller. I almost always like Greg Capullo. And this issue, I feel like I understand what's going on more. Where the first issue, I was like, oh, this is about the afterlife, and that was kind of all I felt like I knew about it.
Yeah.
After it, there's a lot of world building in Reborn #2.
Ooh, I really need to pick it up.
And that it really. Like I really feel like I understand now what the plot is and where we're going with this, and it feels, the afterlife feels like Neverland. How there are fairies that are terrible gossips, and it's apparently like 4 times or 10 times larger than Earth, and so like we find out that the main character's father has been looking for his wife for like years. And that like they're both there in the afterlife somewhere, but you can't find her.
The world is so large.
And that there seems to be a main character. There seems to be a prophecy about her that she's supposed to like lead them all to freedom or something. And so she's kind of like, but I want to find my dead husband. That's what I'm here for. And so she's kind of caught in this. And we meet a lot of factions. For a book that like I felt like was a lot of world building and exposition, it was not just like world building exposition. Like it still moved really well, and it felt like a story, and it felt almost like an episode of television, or like a segment of an episode of television. And I think part of that is Capullo, and that the art, I felt like the first issue felt so much like Scott Snyder's Batman, and that Craig Capullo was drawing and already issue 2, it feels a little more unique, and he's finding the style of this book. So the art in the first book was great, and I think that it gets better with this one. So I just love Reborn number 2. Yeah.
There were so many good comics today.
A lot of good
my
comics
stack
today.
is this is my stack, and I only got to read this many. I only got to read this many.
Oh yeah, we had a fun conversation in the Discord and on Twitter and stuff about code names for the Vanquished crew.
Oh, okay.
And I mentioned we were going to talk this on the show. So some of the names that have come up for the Vanquished crew have been discussed in Discord. I think that we need to have some way of getting the community to vote on what they're going to be.
Oh, really?
There are a few different things that have been mentioned that different people like for different reasons. And I'm sure somebody in the chat could post the 6 that were mentioned in Discord that were sort of whittled down to, but there's still a handful of ideas people have. And so one of them is like for Erida, they're talking about Torrent or Ice Storm or Heat Wave, depending on which side of our powers you want to go. Glitch, of course, is already Glitch.
Yeah, I have a code name.
Let's see, we like, for Livy, it was, I don't remember Livy's. But Nebraska, they like Armament.
Ooh, I like that.
And I like that. I like that because it's a pun, and Nebraska's
yeah.
never going to know that it's a pun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
I love the idea of whoever says it first. Glitch probably is going to be like, ugh, Armament.
Yeah.
And Nebraska's never going to get it.
Yeah.
How's that? So yeah, Erida, Ice Storm or Torrent, Nebraska, Armament, Eve's Memoir or Backlash, Lydia, Conduit, Crossgeist, Beacon, and of course, Glinda Chambers is Glitch. I agree, Armament doesn't really roll off the tongue, but I also feel like Armament is a good, big bold letters below a character on a page, Like, if there's all the teams, I could see Armament just being next to Nebraska. I really like the name.
That's right, Emily. It's like Glinda, the good witch.
Yeah. The good glitch.
Nah! Why, though? Why
Because it rhymed. I got no better why than that. Sorry. So yeah, we had a fun conversation. I like a lot of the names that have come up. Somebody, I meant to find it, now there's too many notifications. Somebody tweeted me a whole separate list that they came up with that were also good, which is why I think we need to have a vote, we need to have a conversation, maybe in the live discussion Discord, maybe in graphic content Discord. We'll find out how to do it. But we're gonna need code names, and I'm already liking them.
Yeah, I already have a call sign.
Yeah. Okay.
Which happens to be my initials. I was so proud of myself when I put that together.
Was that an accident?
No, I fucking thought that shit through. I was like, I want like a geeky, cause remember my name,
G lit.
Stop.
She's lit.
My character is like a super gamer, right? Super nerd. So she, of course, when she joined PRS, she had to have a call sign or whatever. She chose she did a pun because Glinda Chambers, and when you look at the first three, Glitch. I thought that shit through. So many people are like, "Why is your name misspelled?" And I'm like, "Look at my initials." Yeah. I did it on purpose. I was really creative.
Because there's no T in Chambers. That's why.
Yeah. To Chambers, like T'Challa.
Yeah, there you go.
The only way that
silent
works.
T. All right, so your poll of the week.
Yes, my poll of the week was a comic called Ether. I absolutely loved this book. The ending of it made me tear up. I don't know if you had that effect too. Where is my copy? It's here somewhere. I wanted to show my copy.
Is it down here, or did Rai throw it?
Oh, here it is.
Okay,
because I had the variant cover.
Oh yeah.
So, and it has this really. I like the bloody screecher on the back too. This comic is super awesome. I loved it, and I love the art style. It's really classic. So this Dark Horse put this out today, and it's issue number 1. And basically, this is the story of a man who traverses between realms. That's the best way I can put it. And he travels between normal Earth and this sort of mystical, magical place referred to as Ether. And what's really cool is the people of Ether, I love the way they've set this up. The people of Ether they live in a world where magic exists, so they tend to rationalize everything. They tend to not rationalize anything is honestly the best way to describe it. They kind of just take things as fact, like, oh, this happened because magic. Yeah. And now you have a person from our normal world who comes in and he's really analytical. He's almost like a detective, and he sits here and says, like, not everything is magic. And so they kind of use him to solve crimes. It's really cool because they don't have the logic and reasoning to do that, because to them it's like, you know, this thing happened and it has to be magic. And then he comes in and he's like, well, and he very much Batmans it and starts to look at the little bits of...
Yeah, the idea that magic can be explained, that whether or not it's magic or science, there are still rules to it, and so we can still, there's a causality to learn.
Yes, and it's super awesome to see that. The like sort of magical little world they've created has a lot of personality and heart. Yeah. And at first I was kind of leery because I'm like, oh great, a magical world, like we haven't seen this before. But almost immediately, like the characters and the NPCs, I've been too much into RPGs lately, but the different characters in the universe do a really good job of like warming themselves up to you really quickly. And at the end of it, it sucks because I guess like he can only be in this world for so long. And when he's forced to traverse back because he's like, oh, I'm spent for today, I've got to go back. It really hit me hard because it's just like on the cover. Because he goes from this sort of like beautiful magical world where he seemed so happy and such a different person, and then he comes back to the real world, and I kind of cry a little bit because he's homeless, and he's like really depressed and really sad, and he's like sitting in a box, and it was like a really striking image, and it really upset me. Because I mean, I don't know, I'm like tearing up now too. That stuff upsets me. Stardew Valley was hard for me because they have a homeless guy on there too. So it's just like, it upset me. And I was like, that is so, it was like, and the cover should have been a dead giveaway, but it wasn't, and I wasn't prepared for it. So you just turn the page and you see him living like on the road. And it was like so depressing to me. I like didn't know how to process that. I was just like, this is so upsetting on a visceral level, because he gets to live in this other fantasy world where he's treated better and everything's perfect, and then when he's spent, he has to come back and he has to live this sad life, and it upset me. Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, it was really good. I feel like the reason why I didn't have that same reaction to you was that I was confused. I kind of go back and like, wait, oh, this is this real life version of him. I see. Like that's what's happening. And that it's also, so this is by Matt Kint. Like I picked this up just because it was by Matt Kint, who writes Ninjak and Divinity, for Valiant, of course. And yeah, I was really impressed by this book. David Rubin, the artist, he writes so endearing. Like all the new characters, there's a book I talked about last week, whose name I already forget, which I feel shitty about. But it was by Steve Orlando, and it was a book about this guy who sort of goes into this magic world to sow the ashes of his fathers. And it reminded me a lot of this book.
And he's got him like hanging from the...
he has his little spots.
Yes.
And how like they both were very similar to me for as far as like that sort of, you know, I live in this world and go to that world and the magic and reality. But in the other one, I found I liked the main character a lot and like his boyfriend and sort of that, but the magical world I wasn't as into. It was like, it's a magical realm. Okay. You know, the politics of it were more interesting than just the world itself. Whereas it's not that like in Ether, the main character is lacking by comparison, but the magical world itself just feels more like I want to know more about the Steve Orlando book, but I just want to see more of Ether. Yeah. You know, I want to know more about it too, but it's just like, it was just fun to read.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was fun to read. It was good. I don't know. I turned that page and I saw that dichotomy and I got really sad.
No, yeah, it is.
That happens to me though.
And I think it speaks to the...
And it's so weird because like they show it right here on the cover. Like he's older, he's more disheveled, and the change in his expression and how dirty, and it's just like, it really upset me.
Two different worlds.
Yeah. But it was a good book and you should still check it out.
All right, should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Oh, Renegades, yeah.
Harbinger Renegade finally dropped today. We've been talking about this for, it feels like a year or something. Which is not true. A year ago, I wasn't reading Valiant yet. But,
I know, I'm so excited to see this in it. I don't know if I'm gonna have the heart to cut it out, but...
Yeah, I feel the same way. So Harbinger Renegade came with this coupon, mail away coupon, which I think you get what, all 4 of them?
Yeah.
And then you get a free copy of Harbinger Wars 2 number 0.
You get the prelude, yeah.
Yeah, and like I want that book. I want that 0 issue because I'm super excited about Harbinger
Wars. They give you the cover of what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, and like I love the first Harbinger Wars, and then introduction to Generation 0. I'm excited for what this new one is, but like this is cool. But I don't want to get rid of it because like, I don't like the idea of having the coupon still, in 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys.
I like to have. I don't like cutting things out either, but it looks.
But we saw the trailer earlier that this book is about Psiots. It's about the main characters from Harbinger that have been, scattered since that series ended. And in this book, basically, it shows, since the Renegades released the Harbinger papers, which included a database of every potential Psion on Earth, a lot of potential Psiots are in danger. And so some of them are like, oh, I'm gonna go become a Psiot, and then they just fucking die because activating a Psiot is really hard, unless that's part of why Peter Stanchek is so amazing, because he can activate a Psiot without fucking killing them or something. So one of the characters...
I'm looking at this right now. I'm looking at the, like you were just talking about.
That was in the trailer. Just super fucking murdered. One of the characters...
And she's so chipper before it.
Yeah, she's so excited.
You're my family!
Look at me, I'm gonna not die dead. And so one of the characters, it looks like he's gonna be a big part of this book, was on this list. He's a potential Psiot, and he had no idea. He was just going to school, having a normal life, and people come to him and are like, are you a Psiot? And he's like, what? And then they tell him about it. He's like, holy shit, you're trying to arrest me? You should be fucking protecting me. This sounds terrifying. And so then basically at the, Faith is the only superhero left from the Renegades who goes to the other ones and is like, guys, we have to do something. We have to try. Axe is there too. Axe, who of course is, fan favorite on Vanquished and helped us even though he hates us. Axe and Faith are like, we have to do something, we have to try. And so it's actually at the end of the book that they finally contact Peter and are like, Peter, you gotta come back. They need your help. And I love the character of Peter Stanchek, so I'm really excited to see it come back. I loved Harbinger. It's one of my favorite Valiant series. UK More, you could absolutely start with this Harbinger comic. The first few pages kind of catch you up on everything that happened in the past Harbinger run. But that said, there's still a lot of stuff that it's built on. I expect you'll be able to follow the series, especially because it's written by a new writer. So, any new writer is going to build their own story. But I also recommend reading the original Harbinger. It went for 25 issues. I absolutely love it. It's a great way to get into the Valiant universe. Dusty Hero, if you want to get into Valiant, there are a lot of the books stand alone really well, so you can kind of pick up any of the ones that look interesting to you.
That's what I did. Yeah. I got into Valiant, after starting, basically doing this show with you guys. You guys kept talking about Valiant, and it was something that I had read Exo Manowar back in the day. That was the only thing I had ever even kind of read. So I went back, and for me personally, I started with what did I start with? I think Wrath of the Eternal Warrior stood on its own really well. Then I read some War Mother, and then I actually started with the death-defying
Dr. Mirage.
Dr. Mirage. I read that book, which is its own thing. And then I've started to get into Archer and Armstrong, but even Ivar Time Walker stands on its own really well. So those are the ones that, and Generation Zero too, for somebody who barely knows anything about the Valiant universe, Generation Zero, I'm reading it and I'm understanding it. So a lot of the new books you can definitely just pick up and start. Even this one, you can just pick up and start. Faith, I started Faith, and it makes sense. So yeah, that's from a new perspective. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, for me, I loved that first wave of Valiant from 2012, the first wave of the Read bunch. So Exo Manowar, Harbinger, Bloodshot, and Archer and Armstrong, mostly from those are the four that really were the strongest of the initial launch. I really liked those. I think kind of the one that I tell people to check out is Divinity, and especially the first Divinity. It has Unity in it, but it's super standalone. It's only 4 issues, and it's really high concept in a way that kind of shows you this is not just another Superman in a different color.
Yeah,
scheme,
I made the mistake of reading Divinity 2. Reading Divinity, and that was confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. I think that's one of the few books where you kind of really need to read Divinity before.
There's some lady in outer space who's Russian. It made no sense. So you really got to go back.
But it's worth it. I think Dr. Mirage is a good one for its standalone. I wasn't as huge a fan of Dr. Mirage, just because I thought that it was way too wordy. but it's still good. And it's also a genre thing. I'm less into magic.
Yeah, I love that.
Like that
I love
to
that
me,
shit.
I felt like Dr. Mirage was just a book full of MacGuffins that like every new thing was like, here's a thing you've never heard of. This will solve this problem now. Let's talk about our marriage. Now here's a brand new thing you've never heard of. It'll solve this problem now.
Fair
Magic.
enough.
You know?
I'm used to that though.
Yeah, see, I just can't that's why I love sci-fi and why I get super geeky about like Green Lantern and stuff, is that like everything has rules and like green doesn't work against this and yellow is better than this. Like I get really into the geeky science of it all.
Yeah, I enjoy that too, but I also like the weird.
And part of it's my fault for not just giving the book the benefit of the doubt. I'm always like, how'd you do that? I should just fucking just let it be magic,
let it
you know?
be.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
And that's why I still would absolutely recommend Dr. Mirage. Is because I know like my issue with it was more my issue with it.
I just like I'm so used to that. I think it's because I like most of like what I like is like cosmic Marvel and then like the magic, just all the magical books, like so like Constantine and you know all of them, Sandman. Anything that's like kind of weird or quirky like that, and I feel like Doctor Strange does that a lot.
Yeah.
Where he'll randomly be like, "We need this artifact and it'll solve this problem," or like, "Oh, I'll do this and it'll solve this problem." He does that kind of shit all the time, so I think I'm like used to that little scapegoat for that.
And let's not pretend that Batman doesn't do that on a regular basis too. Like that is not. I'm not gonna pretend like that's just a magic thing.
Yeah,
that's a comic book thing too.
As far as third-rate dollar comics, I'm gonna be full disclosure, no idea. There's a few like weird indie comics that are published like at my comic book store where they'll have like local Seattle comics. I'll just be sitting there, and I've picked them up, but they're kind of weird, and so I don't always get into them. So I'm not exactly sure if that like I don't know any on a national level that are published. We do read a lot of indie books here, like different off the beaten trail books, but yeah, I don't know any like. Sorry.
I'm not sure what the question is. Third-rate comic. I don't know how to answer.
I've never seen a dollar comic.
Yeah. Well, let's think. Yeah, like dollar comics are old comics. Like they don't sell new comics for less than $3 anymore. It's just too expensive to print them, basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So Renegades was good. I am looking forward to where it's gonna go. I hope it lasts for long enough to do
No, this
lots
was
of cool
awesome.
things.
I loved it. What else came out this week?
What else we got? We've got
lots of Image. All my like pick. I had like 4 picks and they're all Image. Can we talk about Yakuza?
Sure.
The Demon Killers. Since we actually talked about this in our like in our news, and because we talked about this coming out, and now it's out. And this is the variant cover because I didn't get the main cover, which is way cooler. But they were out of that. It actually sold out at my comic book store. This is the last one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this is by IDW. And it's freaking crazy. I love it. So it's incredibly adult, incredibly gritty. Like right out of the gate, it's very like, it's got a lot of grit. So you're in like a really dark, dirty, I want to say it's in the future, like future Tokyo. And all of the main characters either are Japanese from what I think. They're all speaking Japanese. And the comic takes off and you're basically following this character who's trying to pull off a heist, and he needs this sort of junkie to pick a very special lock for him. And halfway through the comic, things just fucking get supernatural. Demons pop up out of nowhere. And it's really fucking cool.
Cool.
It's really stylized. Like it's very Grindhouse. I really like the rough edges and the way the comic is drawn. It pulls you in the universe.
Very like Sean Murphy kind of
style.
style.
Oh, I love it. It pulls you in, like right away. It pulls you in, and you're in it to win it. And I love it. And the book is just great. It's just a great book.
Oh man.
I'm telling, right?
That dude just got his head eaten.
Yeah, no, it's very adult. It's very adult. It's very violent. And just in general, there's like vomit and blood, and but it's awesome, and I love it. And I literally just added it to my box. I flipped through it, and I was like, yeah, getting added to my box.
I am loving that this style has become so popular. This art style, it's very sketchy and liney that is very Sean Murphy-esque.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love this book. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Because it ended on just like, it just gets weird. Like how it just goes from like a robbery, like for them stealing something from a museum, to like fucking weird in like 0 to 100.
Wow, that's cool.
I love it.
Okay, now this is a question I can think about. Third-rate, old comics that nobody knows or cares about. There's definitely a lot of those. In fact, I would say most comics probably fall into that category because there's so fucking many comics. Personally, the one that I will say... trying to think. All things I can think of are still like kind of cult classics by any means. Like there's a book that's only like 10 years old now. It's called 52. It's a DC book, and I think it's the best book DC, best main continuity book DC ever put out. It's fantastic. It's got Elongated Man and Booster Gold and Adam Strange. Is like these surprising, like really like small characters are the main characters in it. It's about a year. It's a year in which there's no Trinity. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all took a year off after Infinite Crisis.
Okay.
And so then the books all like did this thing called 1 year later, where they jumped a year after the event and were like, here's where they've been for the last year. And 52 was a weekly series that was supposed to fill in that missing year.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty early on, they were like, fuck that, we're gonna tell our own story, because it was Grant Morrison, Mark Waid, Greg Rucka, and Jeff Johns, who are four of the best writers that DC's ever employed. And so it became just this amazing 52-issue series where every issue is just 1 week. So they say week 1, day whatever. And so like the pacing is really consistent in it. But they still, go to all these. There's like 8 different stories threaded through it. And so, in lieu of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, these other heroes have to sort of deal with this. So we have Booster Gold and a dude named Supernova. This is the book in which Batwoman first appears.
Supernova. Yeah.
Batwoman first appears in this. This is where the Question changes from Vic Sage to Renee Montoya. She becomes the Question in 52. So I would say check out 52. You can, I got all 4 trades of it at Half Price Books for less than $10 a piece. So if you see it and it's cheap, absolutely get it. Also, Vampire Batman from the 90s. Doug Moench and Kelly Jones do a story in which basically it's like Dracula, but is John Miller the main character in Dracula? I always forget the main character's name, but Batman is that guy instead of it being Dracula.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome. I love Vampire Batman. Nobody appreciates it enough, but his ears are so big.
That's pretty cool.
So those are my gutter comics, I guess.
Gutter comic.
Although I think 52 is just so fantastic. So it's not a Vampire Batman's kind of a gutter comic. Like Alfred looks like Popeye. His cheeks are so big, but I still can't help but just love it. It's so 90s and his ears are so big, and it's just Vampire Batman. 52 is a masterpiece that nobody appreciates. That's not true. Plenty of people do, but you should as well. What's yours? I know, of course, you love Batman v Alien. That's why
that's definitely my gutter comic. Batman vs Alien. That was that I pushed through. The other, I like all the weird offbeat main comics. So I really like the Doom That Came to Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's called. And it's like a Cthulhu-esque Lovecraft story. It's set in that universe, in the Batman universe, which I really like. What else do I really like?
There's a lot of really good Elseworlds is the DC, and What If is the Marvel name, but these parallel, just random what if this happened stories that are surprisingly good.
I feel like I'm trying to think of other comics that I like. Most of the ones that I would say are unappreciated or kind of bad are newer ones. I'm trying to think of ones that are older that I really liked, and I can't think of them. Because I actually didn't start collecting singles until maybe 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, me too.
Before that, I was trade paperbacks all the way.
Yeah, I started my first pull list in 2000, where Flashpoint actually happened, so 2011. When I started with getting single issues. So a lot of trades, and the problem with reading a lot of trades, reading before you started pulling, is you kind of only see the things that are still collected in trade.
Yeah,
and
a lot of those comics don't make it to trades.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Jonathan Harker was the name of the main dude in Dracula. Thank you. So yeah, Bruce Wayne is basically Jonathan Harker, and then he turns into a vampire eventually, and it's weird. It's a good question, and I'm sure that I will think of more. We will think of more.
We'll post them in the Discord.
And of course, always go ahead and ask us questions about comics in the Discord, or have your own conversations and stuff.
We always talk about thrifty comics too.
Yes.
If I find cheap comics on Amazon or trade paperbacks that I think you guys should own, I freaking link them.
We 3. It's the word we, W-E, and then the number 3 is 3 issues. You can usually find a trade for $10 or less. It's Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, and it's about these animals that are super science experiments, they're animal robots that were made to be weapons, and they break out of the facility that made them. And it is super sad, and you will probably cry, but it's totally worth it. Because it's a dog, a cat, and a rabbit. And they're they're animals. They can barely talk because they have robot parts that help them communicate, but they don't really, but they are super weapons at the same time, but they have basic animal instincts. It's super good. It's got way more heart than it should.
Check that out.
Yeah, We 3, a Vertigo comic.
I love stuff like that. I loved. I recently read I Was the Cat.
I don't think I've heard of that.
It's super cool. It's like the story of, it's more of like a book, but it's kind of a graphic novel, and it's the story of like, basically this cat who's like lived several generations, and all these weird things have happened around the cat. And so he tells the story of all of his owners. And
That sounds cool.
But it's told from the point of view of the cat. So that's why it's called I Was the Cat. And it's like a journalist writing down the memoirs. It's really awesome. I really like it.
Cool. Oh, one more I'll throw out because nobody appreciates them is there's 2 Inhumans books that you gotta read if you're even kind of curious about Inhumans. I know! It's an Inhumans day apparently. But 1998, Paul Jenkins' Marvel Knights Inhumans is, I think, without a doubt, the best Inhumans ever been written. I've not seen anything since then that's been that good. And then there's a book called Young Inhumans from like 2004, in which some young Inhumans were sent from Adelan to like the University of Michigan, or like just a college in the Midwest, to just go see what it's like to be at a human college. Surprisingly good series. Those ones might be harder to find because they didn't they have been reprinted, but not many people carry them. But you can find them in bargain bins.
Snap.
Yeah. Let's see. Other things came out today we haven't talked about. Did you? Oh, you didn't get to check out Thanos #1.
I have it. I didn't get to read it.
Man, it was.
I have
So I'm not necessarily a huge Thanos guy. Not because
the cartoony cover.
Oh, nice. I'm not necessarily. I don't dislike Thanos. I just haven't read that much of him. But I checked this out because.
I love Thanos.
I'm really curious about this series because the promo had Phoenix in it. Like, that's my perspective on it. Phoenix is not in this issue, but it was still awesome. Like, Thanos shows up back on Titan, and there's just like a couple pages without words where he just fucks everybody up because he's such a badass. Thanos' son Thane, who hasn't really been in anything since Infinity, shows back up in this comic, which is cool because I like Thane because he's an Inhuman. I actually don't necessarily care that much about Thane.
I read about Thane recently. I think he was in Thanos Rising.
Oh, Thanos Rising, wasn't that when he conceived Thane? Because wasn't Thanos Rising where he kind of went on like a whole tour?
Yeah, but it flashes
way
between
across
the
the
past and the future.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And there's a point where Thane comes to a planet and everyone freaks out because of who he is. And I remember reading these scenes where Thane is on this desolate planet talking to the seer, and it kind of cements him how he's probably going to be a bad guy. I want to say it was in Thanos Rising, but it might have been in something else.
Did you read Infinity?
Yes.
Because he was introduced in Infinity. I know that there's.
I might be mixing it.
But that makes sense because I know I read Infinity and I asked my buddy who's a big Thanos friend, like who's a big Thanos fan, like, hey, is Thane a new thing? And he was like, nah, yeah, Thane's a new thing. But I think he said there was a book, a miniseries, I think it was Thanos Rising, in which Thanos apparently just kind of like went on a tour and fucked his way across the universe, and one of those kids was Thane. But he hasn't really been in anything. Now he's back. He's hanging out with Death because Death is going to be involved in this Thanos comic, of course. And Death is redesigned in this book.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about
and she has kind of like a Native American feel to me.
Yeah, I thought she looked weird.
That, you know, this is Jeff Lemire. He wrote. This is the guy that made Raven Native American in his Teen Titans Earth 1 and gave us a Canadian First Nation character in his Justice League United. So he has been wanting to tap into that world in his comics. It's been a trend. But what we've got now is Death in Marvel has been just a skull wearing, a cloak. And now, just like every other version, Death is sexy. Now we have a sexy and personification of Death, like so many other versions of Death. And I'm not crazy about that because I like the idea of Thanos being into the concept of Death and not him being more of a obvious...
Yeah, wanting to fuck Death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's a little weird. Other than that, I liked the issue. I'm not...
Especially because we've had striking images of him like holding her and she's literally just like a skull.
Yeah. There's a lot of iconography around their death.
Or as they'd say in Venture Brothers, good old skull face.
Just to hear you're right, godlike characters could absolutely change their appearance at any time they want, like Death. I don't have an issue with the fact that she can change her appearance. It's not about what Death chose to do. It's about what Axel Alonso and the editors and Marvel Editorial chose to do.
And thanks for the follow, by the way, Bunny.
Yes, thank you. Welcome. But, I don't necessarily know that much about Death, so I don't have a huge opinion on it. It just seems like it's odd. I don't watch Supernatural, but I assume that the sexiest version of Death would be in Supernatural because all I know about that show from the trailers is everybody in it is aggressively attractive. Like, seriously, it's insane. That's true for a lot of CW shows. I checked out this book, Slam, by
Yeah, I
Boombox.
saw that stuff. How was it?
It is super cute. I actually picked it up because I saw a thing that was like, if you don't know really anything about roller derby, this is a really good comic to sort of see the community and kind of what it's like. And if you do, if you're part of that, this will show you what it's like. And that's absolutely what it is. Invariably, this comic was about finding your tribe. Like, reading about these two girls and how they found roller derby and sort of met their friends through it and how it changed the way they felt. It reminded me of when I discovered superhero comics.
Aww.
And I was like, oh my god, this is the thing I've been looking for to make me feel like I'm with the people that I should be with. Which, I think that any story like that, I find endearing. But it's really cute. The art style is really fun. The characters are endearing and fun, and like they discover the world of roller derby, and there's this draft basically, and they compete, and at the end they get picked for different teams on the league, and they're roommates, the main characters, and so now they have to deal with that. And so I'm making it sound younger than it feels.
Okay.
So it's because it doesn't feel quite as young and cutesy as I'm making it sound, but it still is cutesy and fun. Like, there's these pages where you see the main character, and there's before Derby and after Derby, and you see how they feel. Pre-Derby, getting a master's in geology, a little obsessed with earthquakes. After Derby, jammer extraordinaire, fearless, and good at pep talks. How they feel different. And it's all about. This issue is just it's just about finding something that you suddenly belong in. And it also, it's like, there's 10 facts about your new derby life, and it starts out as a list and ends up becoming, flavor text for the story. How the list sort of continues as we see the different characters doing what. I feel like I learned a lot about roller derby. And
That's
also about the
awesome.
community and like what, roller girls are like when they hang out. So I always appreciate a comic that does that shows me this whole world that I think is neat but don't know anything about.
Awesome. Looks interesting. What else
did you
I
read Britannia?
No, I'm gonna.
I'm just gonna keep asking you about books you haven't read. What did you read? I'm
What
gonna,
did?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
why
stop
don't you
giving
ask
you
me
awful
about what I read?
segues.
I read a lot of shit this week. All
Right,
right.
you got this up
okay.
top.
So y'all know me. Okay. It was like this. I didn't even get to read all the image I wanted. These are my images that I read today that I loved, and I love fucking all of them. So, I'm only gonna briefly touch on this. Shout out to Steph for turning me on to Southern Cross. This is just a continuation of the crazy story after our heroes go through a portal where the trade paperback ends. I'm not even gonna start with this one, basically because we don't have a whole lot of time. You know what? I'm gonna skip this one. We don't have time. Talk to me about it in the Discord.
All right,
There's
we'll
like
get
way
back
too
to
much
Southern
plot
Cross.
there if you're not reading it. We'll come back to Hadrian's Wall. So Hadrian's Wall, absolutely fucking love this comic. This one was almost gonna be my pick of the week, except it's been my pick of the week twice, and I don't feel like I can't do that 3 times in a row. But basically, this awesome detective from Seattle is hired to investigate a accident on the ship, and when he gets up there, he finds out that his ex's boyfriend is who's the death he's investigating. And sort of where the last comic left off is that we find out he's an addict. He's a painkiller addict, and someone's thrown away his medication, and he starts to realize, or he doesn't realize, but you as a reader realize he's been set up. That the reason that he was chosen to conduct this investigation is because they want the investigator to not care. And it being his ex's boyfriend, they think he's gonna be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, screw that, I don't need to solve this murder.
Yeah, like, oh, it was an accident. Yeah, his suit had a breach, because you see this person die in space, right?
Yeah, good riddance.
So they think like, so that's where the last comic ended, and they sabotage him by flushing all his painkillers.
Oh man.
So now he's on this ship, and he's gonna have that extra pressure of going through withdrawal, so he's gonna wanna close this case shut. But we learn our protagonist is actually very resilient, and he's not willing. He smells something fishy. So this comic, the pacing is fucking beautiful. And every comic seems to have some kind of huge cliffhanger in it, like something big about this like strange situation, or this, at this point we know it's a murder. Something big about this murder is revealed in every single issue, and it always ends on this cliffhanger. Like, I can't wait for the next one.
This art is awesome.
And the art is fucking beautiful.
Look at that.
The art is fucking gorgeous. Everything about this comic is like 10 out of 10. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I love it. I think Zach loves it too. It's like, out of my Image comics right now, it's definitely my top 3.
Cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's fucking love it.
I've been telling myself, like, I knew this was coming out. I was gonna pick it up. I love Rod Reese and I love Kyle Higgins. And for some reason now issue 3 and I haven't fucking read it. I gotta get my shit together.
I love it. It's so amazing. Out of the other comics that I love right now, and then this one's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Kill or Be Killed. I've been a huge fan of this since it's come out. Basically, I'm like the Image kid. I love Image. Like 90% of what I read is Image. But this is about a young gentleman who basically enters a pact, you could say, with a demon where he has to kill people in order for him to live. And he decides, because he's actually he's not a bad human being, that he only wants to kill bad people. And at this point, this issue was amazing because he's kind of run out of the bad people that he knows. Like, one is somebody who sexually abused one of his friends when he was younger. He was a pedophile. That was an easy one. Goes to his house, kills them. Now he's like, you kind of realize he's very much out of his element. And he even touches on that. He says, like, in comic books, they just do something cliche, like wait around to be mugged or stand somewhere and wait for someone to scream. And he's like, I can't fucking figure out how to, and he's like going through, like, he's trying to study it. Like, this is like if you or I were to start to fight crime, because he's like going through books on criminology on how to identify a criminal. Like, how, and the only people he can identify is freaking drug dealers. And he's like, okay, drug dealers don't deserve to be shot in the face. Yeah. Okay, so how the hell am I gonna freaking do this? And he's sitting here trying to figure out how he's
Get a job as a reporter, keep your ear to the ground.
Yeah, and he's like reading the papers and trying to figure out, like, any criminal he does find, well, the police can't find them. So how is he gonna find them? Because he's a normal dude. But he needs to shoot these motherfuckers.
Being a vigilante is hard.
It's amazing. And in this comic, him trying to be a vigilante at the end goes south fucking quick. And it ends on a great cliffhanger. I'm not gonna spoil it, but this was a great comic because he's just like, I can't figure out where to find where do I find a bad guy to shoot? Because I just need to find somebody to kill.
I love that commentary. I wonder if there's like a degree to which Brubaker is like, I'm just fucking sick of it. Like, he wrote Captain America for like 90 years, and he's like, I'm done with all this plot convenience. Some characters are gonna have to fucking struggle for once.
It's so
I like that idea.
He has like no clue what he's doing, and he ends up getting himself into a terrible situation where he thinks he's doing good, but I think he just killed somebody, and I think he just did something really bad. Oh shit. Yeah. And it's great. This character is so sympathetic. The first 3 issues, he was having this issue with like his best friend was dating somebody else, but they were still kind of messing around on the side, and him as a character didn't know how to like reconcile that. So, and you still have that in the background. So I love Kill or Be Killed because you just have this really human, really relatable character who's also just not a very good vigilante. And somehow, I never thought that, like, on the surface that might sound pretty mediocre or whatever, but when you dig your teeth into it, it's just a really entertaining, really good comic, and I just love it. It's amazing. So that was like the 2 that I'm like, number 1, just 10 out of 10. Love both of these. The one that I still liked but wasn't like, you know, number 1 would definitely have to be Moonshine. This comic is getting better. I think it just started I don't think it caught me right away, but this is almost like a film noir style comic. It's gorgeous to look at, and it's about a guy who works for a mobster in New York coming to the fucking countryside, like just like bumfuck middle of nowhere, to try to buy moonshine, because this is during Prohibition. So this tells you like what the setting is, right? And he's approaching these like crazy rednecks, because that's what they are, and trying to acquire moonshine. But in this comic, in the first one, we realize there's something really sinister going on. Things aren't quite right. And this one, it's really cemented. Like, one of our characters keeps having lapses of memory. Like, our main character just doesn't remember what's going on. And in the first one, we basically see a werewolf roaming about. So in this one, we get more clarification on who that werewolf might be. So it's really weird, because on one hand, you have this really strange scenario where he's trying to make a deal with somebody, like with like this sort of like just total redneck. There's no other way to put it. They literally brew their own moonshine. he's like this gentleman from the city, wears a very dapper hat and all that, trying to make a deal with them. But on the other hand, there's like this weird like werewolf shit going on the side. It's really, it's entertaining, but in terms of plot, hasn't gone very far in 2 issues, but it's still entertaining, and I want to see where it goes. And I feel like that's worth a read. When you're like, I don't know how I feel about this issue, but I really want to get to the next one, I feel like that's good enough for me. Because I just want to see where it goes. Maybe this might be better in trade. If I'm full disclosure, this might be better in trade.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Because I feel like any momentum it builds, it loses by the time the next month rolls around. And I felt that way about The Walking Dead. When I first read The Walking Dead, I felt like it needed to be in trade. And then I actually went back and read it when it came out in trade paperback, and I enjoyed it way more.
I started reading The Walking Dead in trade, and I think that like especially the first few trades, each one like you kind of need to. Especially the beginning. It's a slow comic, you know? It's part of why I love The Walking Dead, is its pacing just doesn't give a fuck. It's like, we're gonna take a long ass time to tell the story. But because of that, it's better to read the first 3 trades, basically, to read, like, once you get to the prison,
if you look at the first trade paperback, basically nothing happens other than Shane
the very ending is the death of Shane, which is kind of the, like,
other
one of the
than that,
first plot
the comic goes, like, kind of nowhere. And so, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying that, like, pacing-wise, even for the show, The Walking Dead, for people who say it's slow, I recommend binge watching. If there's some shows you just have to binge watch. And this one, I think this might be one of those where it's like, maybe this would be better as a trade, because I just feel like flow-wise, it would work better. Because there's just not a lot that happens in one comic, and it's weird. It builds this momentum, and then it comes down, and it builds it again.
Cool. I want to talk about one thing real quick. We are almost out of time. It's just that Nightwing there's a villain I love. His name is Superboy Prime. He was in Infinite Crisis. We talked about that last week. He hasn't showed up in like over 5 years, and there he was in Nightwing, Superman talking to him. Like, I'm not going to talk about this book that much, because I know you read Nightwing, I'm not going to spoil it. I love, the fact that it's just Dick and Clark together is always fun. I love those two together. And Superman comes to him and is like, you need some stability, I'm going to take you to Bloodhaven, because remember Bloodhaven? And Dick was like, no, I don't. And so Nightwing's finally going back to Bloodhaven, which is cool. But the new villain is Dr. Destiny, who goes into your dreams and is like Freddy Krueger, but not. But anyway, Superman was like, I keep track of my old villains I remember them, and we saw like Doomsday and Solaris and Superboy Prime. So I got super excited that Superboy Prime was in a comic, so I had to talk about Nightwing, just to geek out about Superboy Prime. I also really liked Infamous Iron Doom.
I like that one too.
We're really digging this.
This week was lit. I loved Infamous Iron Doom. I stole your name. He's cool. I fucking love him. He is cool.
He's like, he reminds me of Darth Vader.
Like, oh, Bronze is gonna be pissed because her Tony Stark is gone. I mean, if I get a comic like this, I'm not gonna be that pissed. He's a cool guy. He's a fucking cool guy, and he's an iron suit, and I like Doom. I've never not liked Doom. Really super quickly, I gotta go. Doctor Strange was actually really good this week. I really like Doctor Strange. Briggs Land was really good. I'm still reading Aquaman.
I'm so behind on Aquaman.
I love Aquaman.
But it's good. Batman was good, but it was very Bendis-y this week, which is weird.
Yeah. I didn't read the Jessica Jones yet. But, Hellcat #1. There was so many good comics.
Lots of good books, which is why we also got a lot of good questions towards the end of the show that we didn't have time to answer.
Yes, we did.
Of course, you can, if you're a subscriber, which you should be because it's great. And also, if you are on Twitch Prime, make sure to resubscribe manually. But if you're a subscriber, you get access to our Discord. We have a graphic content room, for lack of a better word, in the Discord. We always talk about comic books.
The conversation never ends.
Yes, you can feel free to ask us. If you just have like here's a fun and fancy comic book question, you can go ahead and ask us that. I'll probably spend 4 hours of my afternoon thinking about it and then get back to you. But that's the kind of thing I spend my time on. So we can do it together. Thank you guys so much. Stick around for watching Paint Dry. Steph will be around with Viking Lass. They'll be painting mechs for DFA. Tonight is Shadowrun, and on Friday, the season finale of Renegades. But first, Open Legend.
Open Legend season premiere. Come out and support me.
Right.
Because there's going to be a bunch of new strangers in chat.
Yeah,
so I need you guys to have my back, right?
We need the hashtag #fam.
We're going to have like a whole bunch of people in there. Somebody, the thumpers, to be like, yeah, well, Bronze is cool too. So, oh God.
We got your back, and we won't throw your comics ever again.
I forgive you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know you didn't mean it.
Books are sacred.
Shut it down, QQ. Bye, guys.
Bye.